Now here's your host, Wilmot Mutty Perkins.
Morning, everybody. Morning, and welcome once again to Perkins Online. The issue of abortion is coming up again. And the argument seems to be, on the basis of a report I see in the Observer, that as to whether abortion should be made legal in Jamaica, which is a nonsense argument. I have pointed out on this program over some years that abortion is not per se illegal in Jamaica. As far as I'm aware, at common law, and I don't know that the common law position has been altered by statute. As far as I understand it, at common law, abortion is not per se illegal in Jamaica. Any doctor can perform an abortion quite legitimately if he is of the view that for the mother to carry the child would constitute a danger to her physical or mental health. If the doctor is satisfied that that is the position, he can quite legitimately perform the abortion. And he doesn't need to get any other doctor to agree with him on the point before he can do it. Right? That, as I understand it, is the common law position. The problem with it, of course, is that the people from the Toponaris places will have their own private physicians who will, they go into there to see them, and they explain their position, and they would like to have an abortion, and it is done very quietly. I remember some years ago interviewing a doctor, a well-known doctor, was in the government service too, who told me on air about the abortions that she had performed at her private clinic. The problem, as I was saying, is that some people can afford to have their private physicians and can get abortions done. Other people are not in that position, and the decision tends to go against them, I suppose. Possibly they're not even aware that they could ask to have an abortion done. And so they go through and bring a child into the world in circumstances very, very unfavorable to that child having anything remotely resembling a decent life. Think of all these parsons and people who are saying that, the Christian lawyers group and all that. Think of what is happening to that child. What is what is likely to be the life of that child. If it comes into a situation in which its mother didn't want to have it, his father, he wanted something else, and he got that and has gone about his business. The mother didn't want to carry the child, but couldn't do anything about it. So he comes into a world in which from the very start he's smitten with poverty and lack of opportunity, right? Doesn't have a decent home life, doesn't have the opportunity of a decent education, is running up and down on the streets with others like himself, and fall into all sorts of mishaps, and ultimately turn to criminal activity in order to get something out of life. And then at some point the gun goes off and somebody dies, and you hear that he should be hanged. It seems that people are not thinking, right? A. B. Freedom, as I understand it, is the right to make one's own choices. If I can't choose for myself, then I'm not free. The slave couldn't choose for himself, except in very, very narrow circles of activity. And that is what ultimately defined his slavery. If a woman cannot be free to determine what she is going to allow to go on within her own body, not anybody else's, her own body, she's going to decide. She can't decide what she's going to allow to grow within her own body. Then how can she possibly be free? It's a very foolish, basically religious, if possibly even a superstitious argument that is going on. And the suggestion that a human being, that fertilized egg in the woman's womb this morning is a human being is nonsense. That's like saying that an orange seed is an orange tree. Right? It is not. An orange seed does not have the properties of an orange tree. And the fertilized egg in the woman's womb does not have the properties of a human being. Right? There's a genetic potential there, yes, which, like the orange seed, if put into favorable circumstances, a favorable environment, will develop into an orange tree. But orange trees don't need to develop into orange trees. Orange trees are already orange trees. So anything that needs to develop into an orange tree can hardly be said to be an orange tree. And the same thing has to be true of a fertilized egg in a woman's womb. Given time and given favorable circumstances, it will develop into a human being. But as in the case of the orange tree, orange seed, developing into an orange tree, the fact that the one has to develop into the other means that the one and the other cannot be the same. The one has a potential for becoming the other, but it is not the other. They're two quite different things. Right? So all this argument that I see going on in the Observer, I think it is on page 6 of the Observer, this morning, about abortion, is it does make sense. It's nonsense, absolute nonsense. If any woman who does not want to have an abortion, by all means, go ahead and have the child. Particularly if you know that you're going to be in a position to take adequate care of that child. Right? But I think that there is something wrong about forcing a woman. There has to be. Forcing a woman to bring a child into the world. To suffer an appalling life because the resources do not exist to sustain it. Yeah? Here is in this story in the Observer, explaining that an unborn baby has a beating heart at 5 weeks. An unborn baby has a beating heart at 5 weeks. Among other milestones, Dr. Brady West suggested that a fetus became an individual human being from conception, which takes place in the first 72 hours. Right? Hold on just a moment, please.
Workers in the light and power industry, the JPS Employees Co-op Credit Union is you and your family's best bet for attractive loans and investment options. The time by the JPS Employees Co-op Credit Union, your financial partner for life, is 10:15.
Bashko, check out them Class Supply of Entertainment Center and the new Chester Dryer.
Bashko's blowout sale is the perfect chance to give your home a fresh look this year with brand name appliances and great looking furniture at unbeatable prices.
Anything you want, they have it galore. Bashko, the store that gives you more. Visit any of our 13 stores, island-wide, and see why Bashko give you more. Mr. Bashko, do what me say? Bashko, the store that gives you more.
The biggest cricket event in the world is coming, and Cable & Wireless can get you there.
I feel the cricket.
Here's your chance to win tickets to ICC Cricket World Cup. Top up your prepaid B-Mobile or home phone with $300 or more in 1 week.
Glorious shot.
Or use $500 or more a week on your postpaid B-Mobile or home phone and be automatically automatically entered to win 2 tickets to an opening match in Jamaica.
He's in.
And if you use eTop-Up to add $300 credit to your prepaid V-Mobile, you'll also have the chance to win 2 tickets and airfare.
To the finals in Barbados.
See the press for details. Conditions apply. Cable and Wireless, an official sponsor of ICC Cricket World Cup.
I feel cricket.
You're listening to Perkins Online, the Thinking Person's Talk Show. Our phone numbers are 968-4901, 968-4902, 968-4903. Our local toll-free line is 1-888-991-4072. Or you may call our international toll-free line, courtesy of the People's Telecom of Jamaica Limited, winners of the prestigious Jamaica Milestone Award on 1-866-LINK-106. That's 1-866-5465-106. You can also log on and listen to Perkins Online live on the World Wide Web free at www.go-jamaica.com. Now back to Perkins Online on Power 106 FM.
Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. As Dr. Brady West is saying that that a fetus has a beating heart after about, what is it, 5 weeks in the 5 weeks. After 5 weeks, the fetus has a beating heart. And he's arguing on that basis that the fetus became an individual human being from conception. Right? Not even from the 5 weeks, which takes place in the first 72 hours. So it isn't even the beating heart, which it has at 5 weeks, that makes it a human being. It is the fact of conception, right? Because I was going to ask Dr. Wright to tell us. Dr. Wright, is it? Dr. West, to tell us whether he means to argue that anything with a beating heart is a human being. What about a donkey cob? That has a beating heart. But is it a human being? People can argue some foolishness. Anyway, so far as I know, abortion is not illegal in Jamaica, per se. Right? Any doctor can do an abortion if he wants to. If he says that in his judgment, it would be harmful to the mother, harmful either physically or mentally to the mother for her to have to go through the pregnancy. Right? If in his judgment that is so, my understanding is that at common law, he has the right to do an abortion. And I really do not see how it can possibly be a good thing for those of us who have a set of beliefs to impose them upon other people. If you have a beliefs, act in accordance with your belief. Right? But don't demand that I act in accordance with your beliefs if that is not my belief. Right? And people who put forward this kind of argument are threatening to freedom, to liberty. It's a very serious thing. one can't take one's religious beliefs and impose them upon other people. That is a mode of tyranny. Okay? The Observer again this morning has an editorial. If they kill the cops in the morning, right? If they kill the cops in the morning, they will be coming for us in the evening. Right? The trouble about that is, here it is. Here it is where they have it. If they come for the cops in the morning, they will come for the rest of us in the evening. How very silly. They've been coming for us. They've been coming for numbers of the rest of us. In the wee hours of the morning, from the wee hours of the morning till the late hours of the evening, and over a period of many years. Right? I don't understand the thinking that goes on in this country, the kind of rubbish that people put out. How do we hope to solve our problems if this is the quality of the thinking that we're going to carry on? Eh? They've been coming for the rest of us for one hell of a time. They've killed 5 police persons. Nobody is glorying in that. Right? It's a horrible thing that these persons have lost their lives. Absolutely horrible. But it is equally horrible if 5 other innocent individuals lose their lives. The killing, the murder of a policeman is no more murderous than the murder of an ordinary individual. Why should it be? Do we not have equal rights in this country? And do those equal rights not include the right to life? Huh? So if that is so, if we all have equal rights, if we really do have equal rights, apart from saying it, if we're really serious about it, if we have, all of us, equal rights, well, that means that the rights of that little boy, that little young man down there in the ghetto, is the same as the right of the Topanaris man in some high place in the cabinet or wherever. Right? We're all equal. We're all equal under the Constitution. We have equal rights. Among them, the right to life. So the murder of a policeman is not intrinsically anything more serious than the murder of a citizen. And one of the reasons why the policeman is there doing that job is to prevent, if possible, the murder of the citizen. Now, this is not to say that one doesn't take the murder of police persons seriously. But one ought to take the murder of any citizen equally seriously. And I don't understand how the Observer comes with this ridiculous argument, given that since the beginning of the year, 5 policemen police personnel have been murdered. And in that same period of time, something of the order of 140 odd citizens of the rest of us have been murdered. And the Observer comes out with an editorial talking rubbish about if they kill the police in the morning, they will come for the rest of us in the afternoon, or in the evening. What nonsense. Observer, I understand your predicament, you know. You need to say something. And problem is that you don't know what to say. Right? Yes, and I'm being reminded about Janice Allen and Michael Gale and Patrick Genius and the fellows, those fellows who were slaughtered at Green Bay, right? What about those? Right? They're waiting to come for them in the evening. Oh boy, we have problems in this country. Our problems are not in the ghetto. Our problems are associated with an inability to think and think clearly, right? And therefore to evaluate issues and options. We need to deal with this problem of crime, and in particular the problem of violence and murder. But we're not going to do it this way, right? What we're going to have to do is to think seriously about the problem. What is it that is causing it? And it is not entirely unrelated, I don't think, to the first thing that I spoke about, the question of abortion. Because if women are going to be obliged, bringing a child into the world should be a serious matter for thought. It should be a responsible action, not an irresponsible one. Right? It shouldn't come about merely because of, two persons went and had some what they thought was considered fun, and then found one of them that something was left there, right? That shouldn't be the approach to it. And it seems to me possible that there might be less crime if there were less irresponsible childbearing in this country. Okay? We take a break. We come back in a moment.
Ideal Finance Corporation, 17 Ripon Road, Kingston 5, offers competitive interest rates on your investments and attractive foreign exchange rates. Call 960-639-024. The time by Ideal Finance Corporation is 10:30.
Hello? Mommy, I need to pay my half fee before exam, and I'm kinda short on cash. You going to Western Union today? And I miss you, see?
I can't wait for you to get a job.
It's payback time. Now there are great rewards for sending when you use your Western Union card. When you send money within Jamaica or away, get points redeemable for $3 discount on your next qualifying send transaction fee or 200 Jamaican dollars phone credit.
Mommy, it's me again.
Well, the amount of time this child need money, I'm about to save a bundle.
Sending is rewarding with your Western Union card. Terms and conditions apply. Visit any Western Union agent location or call 926-2454 for details. Fast, reliable, worldwide. Western Union.
You send me.
Have you been searching for a career that allows you to serve your country? The Jamaica Constabulary Force is the place for you. We need talented men and women for the JCF as it enters a new era of service. Candidates must have strong integrity and be able to meet high academic standards. Call 984-2771 for more information. Join the JCF. Be an agent for change.
You're listening to Perkins Online, the Thinking Person's Talk Show. Our phone numbers are 968-4901, 968-4902, 968-4903. Our local toll-free line is 1-888-991-4072. Or you may call our international toll-free line, courtesy of the People's Telecom of Jamaica Limited, winners of the prestigious Jamaica Milestone Award on 1-866-LINK-106. That's 1-866-5465-106. You can also log on and listen to Perkins Online live on the World Wide Web free at www.go-jamaica.com. Now back to Perkins Online on Power 106 FM.
Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online, and we have with us, I'm told, Dr. Ken Baugh, the opposition spokesman on health. Dr. Baugh?
Morning, sir.
Haven't had a word from you for a long time.
That's right. But you see, the times that you're on are the times that I'm working in the days.
I follow what you mean.
Yes.
Tell me, Doctor.
I listen a lot to your program.
Oh? You have nothing better to do with your time?
It's a good thing to do.
Oh, Lord.
Keep us well informed.
You're coming here with flattery now?
No, as a doctor, we have to read the current journals. So as a politician,
well,
we have to
let me ask you something.
Current issues.
Are you aware, as a licensed medical practitioner, that you have the ability to decide, the power to decide, whether or not to do an abortion?
Yes.
And the moment you're of the view that the continuation of the pregnancy would be injurious to the mother's health.
Just a minute. Let me get rid of this. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I'm sorry. You can go ahead.
Yes, the mother's health, physical or mental.
Yes.
That you have the right to do the abortion?
If two consultants, the common law, it's not a law, it's a common law. If two consultants agree, and many doctors are concerned, in fact, that if they do that in the interest of saving the life of the mother, they may be doing a criminal act. And the Medical Association of Jamaica has written a paper on it, a document on it, stating their position on it.
Yes.
That there is no question that there are certain circumstances where a pregnancy may threaten the life of the mother. And the most glaring example is, like, for instance, an ectopic pregnancy, that everybody will agree. If a pregnancy occurs in the tube, in the fallopian tube, it will grow to a certain point and then the tube will burst because it's not designed to accommodate a pregnancy. And then it will bleed and the mother will die. Unless the doctor intervenes by doing a surgical operation, which includes, it's an abortion, basically. If the pregnancy in the tube, you're going to induce an abortion. There are methods these days with endoscopic techniques to save the tube. But in the past, and even still now, on many instances, you have to just go and take the tube and the baby and everything.
Well, let me ask you something. Where does it come from? Because I remember this, I can't remember the name of the doctor in England who established this principle of the law. Well, I mean, through whom it was done, because he conducted an abortion, having informed the authorities that he was going to do it. He was charged. The matter went to the House of Lords. And the case, it was decided that the doctor had the right to do the abortion once he was satisfied. Now, you're telling me that you need to have another consultant? When is this a Jamaican provision, or?
I don't think so. I think it's something that we have adopted from Britain, although Britain has updated that in their own country. I think we have just not addressed the issue over many years. I have to confess that even when I was minister, we did not address the issue. We should have, but it is something that once you start touching it, becomes so controversial with strong lobbies on either side. That it will take time, but it needs to be addressed. It needs to be put on the table now and addressed.
Why should a woman not have the right to decide what she's going to allow to grow within her own body?
It is not as simple as that.
No?
Because you have to consider whether the the unborn child has any rights itself. If the mother has a right to decide what she's doing with her own body, who decides on the rights of the unborn child? And as a matter of fact, I will tell you, if you see documentation and videos concerning late abortions where people do it when the fetus is pretty advanced and well developed, and the methods that are used to terminate the life of that fetus, you'll consider it next to infanticide is feticide. So in fact, it is taking the life, and quite an independent life. And there are active videos taken of ultrasound examinations done on the fetus while abortion is being done. And there's no question that when the intrusion in the womb takes place, the fetus recoils in fear and pulls away and tries to defend itself.
Yes, but at what point does that occur?
At what point? Well, this is a big question. At what point do you consider it an independent, capable of independence?
Well, I wouldn't suggest that a woman should have the right to carry a child for 8 months and then decide that she wanted an abortion.
Right. Well, there are certain things that are clear-cut.
Yes,
late abortions is clear-cut.
That would clearly be a human being.
Right.
But the question is whether the 72-hour-old fetus is a human being.
Well, in many instances, the methods of birth control that are used, including the morning after pill and some of the intrauterine devices, what it in effect does, is prevent the implantation of a fertilized egg.
Yes.
So it is in fact a very early abortion. But
yes,
we must also not forget that nature itself takes care of pregnancies that something is wrong with the fetus. Let me put it this way, that 20% of all normal pregnancies end in natural abortions. And if you examine the products of that abortion, you will find that there is something wrong with the fetus. So if something is wrong with the fetus, nature itself gets rid of it.
Yes.
And so that if you were able to preserve those pregnancies and it goes to you will have a lot of babies born with serious
deformities and
yes,
so on.
So nature itself gets rid of pregnancies where something has gone wrong.
Yes.
But to my mind, as human beings, I've thought about it a lot. I've read about it a lot, prepared my own position on the matter, and I feel definitely where the mother's life is threatened, decisions have to be properly made by professionals as to whether it merits an abortion. But that does not address the question of, say, rape, when a mother is pregnant with an unwanted pregnancy as a result of rape.
Well, I don't know.
It does not address the issue of when a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old or a 15-year-old gets pregnant.
Yes.
Because of carnal abuse.
Yes.
And these are difficult questions to address.
I don't see that, Dr. Baugh. Because it seems to me that, to begin with, I don't think that one should be encouraging irresponsible pregnancies, irresponsible giving of birth to children in circumstances where the mother is not equipped or to deal with this child. Having a child is only the beginning of something, right?
Yes.
You're going to have that child with you for 18, 20 years, right? And you're going to have to be able to take adequate care of that child, or you're going to be bringing a child into a miserable existence. Now, which is worse?
And you can destroy a life. But the fact is, I can give you examples on either side. I remember a lady coming to me once with her daughter pregnant, younger than 15. And I sent her to university. She did not have an abortion. She originally did want an abortion, but was convinced to go through with the pregnancy. Today, she's very proud of that grandchild, which is doing exceedingly well in school. And she's so glad she did not make that decision to terminate the pregnancy of her 15-year-old daughter.
Yes.
So there are arguments on both sides.
Well,
and the question is, how do women feel after having a termination of pregnancy done? And whether there are any risk to them then and afterwards.
Yes.
Those who are anti-abortionists are arguing very strongly, and I don't quite believe this. As a matter of fact, I don't think the evidence is enough for us to be conclusive that when abortions are done, there are certain risks. I know multiple abortions can lead to infertility because of scarring of the womb.
Yes.
But they're also claiming that abortions done can also predispose to risks in breast cancer development. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I've searched the literature, I've looked at it. There are those who say yes, based on statistics, they are convinced that happens, but there are those who say no, that the statistics are not convincing at all.
Dr. Baugh, over the period of human history, they have said a lot of damn nonsense, you know. You know that.
You mean in medicine?
No, not necessarily. They say this, they say that, they say the other, right? A lot of nonsense is represented in that way.
There's no question, but there are strong arguments on both sides. Do you know the case in the United States, the landmark case of Roe versus Wade, that the person was named Jane Roe, that person was a woman who was penniless and pregnant, who had to have an abortion done, termination of pregnancy. That woman later on turned around to spend her later life as a very active anti-abortionist, trying to overturn that decision, which was done in her favor because she's a real person. That is something to consider. But to my mind, I think the approach ought to be this, a very constructive approach, is first of all to make sure that we have good family planning methods.
Yes.
And that people are well educated to prevent pregnancies, and that the equipment and materials and supplies are available to them to prevent unwanted pregnancies. We should go all out to do that.
And not only that, I think that we, you know, I heard on Ronnie Thwaites' program one morning some time ago, police officer at the Kingston Police Station, Central Police Station, talking about a discussion that he had with some young men that were in the cells down there.
Yes.
You know, in the region of 16, 17, 18, that kind of thing. And they were telling him that they didn't expect to live to be 23.
Yes.
And therefore, whatever they could get, and however they could get it, they had to proceed, you know?
Yes.
And I wonder whether that is not part of the... Well, that is a mental view, you know, that envelops our society, or large areas of it, right? And motivates, drives behavior in certain directions. And among the directions, I mean, a lot of criminal activity, but also a lot of the sexual practice of the society, right? Once upon a time, youngsters were brought up to believe that, you know, sex was something that associated with a commitment.
Yes.
You know, a girl didn't just sort of go and lie down and allow herself to be used.
That's right.
Right? She was seeking commitment, and people got, you know, engaged and married and so on.
Yes.
And brought up a family.
Yes.
Nowadays, that is not what is going on. Everybody is having fun. You know, get a little enjoyment and
the social fabric has disintegrated.
Absolutely.
The support systems are just not there for good unions and for unions to last.
Yes.
And you'll find that because of the imbalance relating to young girls being brought up and boys being brought up.
Yes.
A lot of the young girls end up being better off in life, being more stable, more emotionally stable, in jobs, earning better salaries, and then they want to have families.
Yes.
But they cannot find partners. And they eventually do find a partner, but sometimes they end up with a young man who has not achieved, wants to assert himself in all sorts of different ways, and he uses violence or aggression to assert himself. So the partnership doesn't last. So the women eventually adjust and say, okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to fulfill my desire, I'm going to have a baby.
Yes.
And then I'm going to run the father and stay alone and become a single parent.
Absolutely.
So
hold on for a moment, please, Dr. Baugh. Dr. Baugh, we're back with you.
Yes.
And what I really called you to talk about is what is going on at the University Hospital.
Oh, you're going to leave that subject? You're going to leave the subject we were on?
The subject of abortion? You finished?
You had taken me into another dimension, but it ties right back into abortion.
Yes.
And before you leave, I just wanted to say that we have failed, all of us have failed as leaders of this generation, to address the fundamental needs of a society of our young adolescents coming of age.
Yes.
Where they need to assert their own identity, to become independent, and to assume adulthood. That the vast majority of them will never acquire the means to fulfill their basic drives
Yes.
and their basic needs in lives. But it's not only physical and sexual, but need to have a family and to have a home and to father children.
And to realize one's potential as a human being.
Exactly.
You know?
And we live in a society that is totally disordered and disorganized, and the fundamental institutions of society are just not
And
there.
we are failing to understand, Dr. Baugh, that our greatest assets is not the white sands beaches and the beautiful mountains.
Right.
And the bauxite and the this, that, and the other, and so on. It is human beings.
But that's exactly so, and that has to be the highest priority for us as politicians, as churchmen, as leaders of society to address. And India has not. I'm so envious of India, of all the countries we talk about now. Because from in the 60s, the first prime minister who gained independence there, Nehru, set in motion a policy whereby to deal with the divisions in their society. They're divided into castes. They're divided by color, by wealth, by all sorts of different things. And he sought to establish a society where equity would be achieved through education, and education was a development tool.
Oh my God! I mean,
they set out to create a knowledge-based economy and society.
And they're so prominent in several fields like,
information technologies.
Yes.
And all the technologies to do with computers, etc. But because it was a deliberate policy, the Bangalore in India is what they call the Silicon Valley of India. It was a deliberate policy of Nehru to create that sort of technology industry there. And just like Silicon Valley down in, I think it's in California, the same thing happened there too, where Stanford University had, I think, 8,000 acres. They were having cash flow problems. And in order to solve the problems, they couldn't sell the land. So what they did was to encourage commercialization of technology there. And, they invited people with the skills to set up business. Most of their graduates. And that's how Silicon Valley started up. And the same thing happened in Bangalore, India. Nehru set out to do exactly that. And now Bangalore, India is a place where it is growing rapidly. And enormously. But the most important thing is how India concentrated on education to solve their problems of divisions.
Absolutely.
So that everybody had equal opportunity.
Absolutely.
And the universities grow from about 560 to 6,000 universities. They have, they from about 300,000 undergraduates. They now have 9-point-something million undergraduates, 2.5 million graduates per year.
Oh my God.
So that, they set out to do this.
What a powerhouse.
But it's basically because of that human resource. Why India is attracting so much investment. And it is moving forward in every field, including agriculture, especially in of technology.
We need to, let me tell you something. We keep looking for petroleum, right?
That's right.
Because years ago, centuries ago, some people with brains took this thing that was lying about all over the place, and found a way of making a use of it. How do we know that if we develop our brains in this country, that one day somebody will find some way of making limestone equally valuable?
Well, that's right. but why should we sit back and allow Ireland and India to control knowledge-based economies?
Absolutely.
We should do that right here. We're strategically placed to be, and plus we speak English, which is the dominant language in the world. We should be in a position, and I don't believe it's too late. I believe once you demonstrate that propensity and use it as a policy, we can achieve it. But anyway, we're wasting time. Mr. Perkins, I want to just get back to tell you that the whole issue of abortion is tied up with the fact that our society is so disorganized. And what you said about those boys not looking forward to any long life and just wanted a moment in glory. That is the problem, that people are just enjoying themselves. And this is why AIDS is so dominant too, sex becomes the only thing where it is becomes some sort of relief.
And crime, Dr. Baugh.
And crime too. I remember that Giada Brown's wife, I think it was, who was murdered, that the fellow who did it was caught driving her Mercedes-Benz. In which, in other case, he didn't mind being caught eventually. He just wanted a couple hours or a couple
driving
days
a Mercedes.
Driving a Mercedes-Benz. And this is what is happening to our people here. And we have to, I talk to whenever I get a chance, I talk to people in the churches to ask them questions. What is the church doing about this whole question that life is so disintegrated and disorganized for these young people, that they really don't have a good sense of core values. They don't have any confidence in anything that can shape their lives or make it useful and meaningful. And unless we take that, take hold of that and deliberate a plan for it, is not going to solve the problem. It's getting worse every day.
And not only that, Dr. Baugh, one has to understand that values are not just moralistic. Morals are utilitarian, right?
Yes.
Morals, good morality is what works in a given society.
That's right.
Right? Honesty is the best policy, because it will, if you develop a reputation for honesty, people will trust you, and you will get opportunities that you would not have had you developed the opposite reputation. Right?
Well, that leads us right into the question of the university.
Yeah.
Because what is really happening in Jamaica is that those people who have integrity and good values are going to find themselves outnumbered and not relevant, because we are dealing with a society that has been corrupted from top to bottom. And those
no, Dr. Baugh.
Sorry?
From bottom to top.
Sorry. I didn't hear you.
From bottom to top.
From bottom to top. Yes. But that's just it. And the question is, we might inculcate in young people good moral values. Those who pursue that will find that they're outnumbered and disadvantaged.
Absolutely.
Because unless you're going to create a general situation where
Dr. Peter Phillips told you about this some time ago.
Yes.
In Jamaica, the man who plays by the rules
is
the man that gets shafted.
Yes, and I agree with you for repeating these things.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the law is not a shackle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think it was John Locke who said, where the law ends, tyranny begins.
Yes.
Now, here's a question I will give those messages to people. How do we get people? Messages.
How do we get people to obey the rules when they are being told from such a source that to obey the rules is to be shafted, to expose yourself to being shafted?
But in the economic situation that we've been living in for the last 15 years, it's a situation where people who operate small and medium-sized businesses, they have been shafted because they have been subject to all sorts of penalties.
Yes.
To accommodate a government who has to stay in power by borrowing money and pushing up interest rates. I remember when I started business, I started negotiating in 1989, negotiating interest rates of 16%. By the time I got my loan, it was 45%. And there are times I paid 60%, and I even went out to pay 120%.
Yes.
No, I was aware of so many other businesses around me that faltered and sunk, because, you know, very few could survive under those circumstances.
Yes.
And now you have a situation where people who are involved in productivity don't do well because they run the risk. They have to employ staff and pay all the taxes for their staff.
Yes.
People are encouraged to sit back, accumulate some capital, lend it to government, and reap enormous benefits. So speculators are doing well, but people who want to be in the productive side have a great difficulty unless you're going to do something like buy and sell.
Yes.
But trading in money is a big thing now. In other words, and, you know, you've always criticized the university. I'm really not going to join you and say it's an intellectual jungle. But what I will tell you is this, that you know, whereas the university has done a good job in faculties like medicine and provided good, highly qualified doctors and nurses, and that university has never been oriented to industry.
No.
And, you know, we need in this country to make sure, like in India, that tertiary institutions are available, that are oriented to technology, to industry, to management, to make sure that we are creating an economy.
Yes.
Because we can't continue with this unproductive economy where people just sit back and earn money and don't take risks. And those who do have to pay heavy taxes to accommodate a government that is overly indebted.
Absolutely.
And a lot of small business, the whole network, the whole foundation of small businesses have been destroyed. And they come back to the point I'm making, that people who try to do things honestly and straightforward will find themselves in great debt.
Yes.
And great problems. But you asked me about the university. I have interviewed a few people. I'm not going to give any names. I'm satisfied with the sources that I have to tell me that there is a need for a proper, independent investigation in what is taking place. I believe that people are being scapegoated. And I believe that for what I've heard is that with this new board, they are having attempts by members of the board to take over certain functions of the administration or to influence it, or to unduly influence it. Which including...
Hold on for me, Dr. Baugh. Okay, thank you. We're back with you. Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, we're talking about the hospital.
Yes, from what I have been told, and I have reason to trust my sources, and it concurs from whatever court I've got it, in that there is no doubt that there are elements on the board that have taken a keen interest in some of the operations of the hospital. First of all, the bursar, who normally chairs the Finance and General Purposes Committee, the bursar for the University of the West Indies, sits on the hospital board and chairs that committee of the board. That bursar has been removed and replaced by a government appointee. Similarly, other activities, including the awarding of works and contracts, there has been influence on it resisted by the member, the officer responsible, to saying that there is a procedure which includes tendering, and if he has refused to comply and has been berated for it. And secondly, people's posts consequently have been advertised, even while they're still in the job. And then there's an issue concerning the CEO, where there's a claim of conflict of interest. And I've listened to some of the details concerning that. And I think that that conflict of interest is doubtful to my mind. But I don't want to be a judge of that.
Yes.
I think it really merits the what has been done, in that the CEO has called in the Contractor General and the Auditor General. And I think that needs to happen. That needs to be done to clarify the whole situation.
Yes.
But I personally don't see a conflict of interest from what I've heard.
Involving the CEO?
Yes.
Isn't that supposed to be a regional institution? How is government moved in? And
it started off as a regional institution. It probably still is. But don't forget that a lot of things have happened over the years, in that other faculties have grown up, and a faculty for medicine has grown up in Trinidad. So the university hospital predominantly serves Jamaica now.
Yes.
The vacancy is created because the students from the Eastern Caribbean and Trinidad who no longer come here, I guess it will be taken up more by Jamaican students. I don't know to what extent that has affected the management and administration of the university hospital as a regional institution, but it certainly is still a medical faculty that was designed, this hospital was designed to serve certain purposes predominantly.
Are you distinguishing between the medical faculty and other faculties?
In what way?
Well, I mean, no. You say that the students coming here now are Jamaicans going to the university here.
It will be a large number of Jamaicans. I'm certain they accept students from other territories.
Yes, But what you're saying is that it is evolving.
It probably still is a regional institution, but evolving
into a Jamaican institution.
Yes.
Now, how is
but it still has to serve. That original function has to be preserved. That it is predominantly designed and put there for teaching.
Yes.
Because certain standards have to be maintained so that the university hospital can continue to be accredited as a teaching institution. Or graduates will not be recognized.
A teaching institution, as distinct from an institution designed for
service,
to deliver scarce benefits and spoils.
Yes. Well,
is that what you're saying?
The difference is the institution of KPH can overcrowd its wards and put beds on the verandas and accept all numbers of patients. The university has been more careful how they do that, because they have to maintain certain standards
medical
of care.
standards. So what are you saying? That at KPH, medical standards are not being maintained?
Well, they don't have a choice. They have to accept whatever comes. If all the emergencies that come there, they have to accept them. So if it means an overflow of patients, they have to take it.
Yes.
The university doesn't have to do that. They
but
can
also it seems that
if
it means that patients can't get, surgical attention, then they're just going to die.
So far, Mutty, I think that we have the capacities to deal with that. The problem is that the economy has deteriorated over the years. Rather than getting better, we've got worse.
Yes.
So although we still have the buildings and the institution, the staff has not grown to meet the service needs, grown to meet the new technologies that are offered.
Yes.
So it is offered rather erratically around the country, not with any great equity. And, all may not be available. Let me put it this way. People do not have general access to a lot of the new technologies, unless they pay for it out of their pockets.
Yes.
I'm told that it's about to improve, but if KPH did not have the new technologies of CAT scans or MRI, the university recently is putting those things in. Now, the question of people who are needing surgery and dying because they need surgery, that should not happen. Not in Jamaica. If they go to the university and they cannot, as their first port of call, and they cannot get treatment there, then arrangements should be made to have them transferred to a hospital without difficulty.
Yes.
Unfortunately, because of communication problems, there sometimes are difficulty and delays in transferring those patients.
Well, I was thinking of that policeman who died at, the
policeman.
Yes.
Yes. Again, although it was denied by the hospital authorities, that happens from time to time, that there are delays of treatment in negotiating the transfer of patients.
Yes.
It should not happen, because what happens in a situation like that is that consultant calls consultant. And once the consultant makes the contact, all the arrangements should be in place to transfer the patients.
Yes.
If that happens now, there is a management breakdown.
Yes, but the consultant may not be available at 11 o'clock at night. Is that what you're saying?
Well, if they are not available at 11 o'clock at night, then they ought to be dealt with, because they ought to be. There is a rota, and people are on duty, and you have several.
There ought to be a sufficiency of staff. My impression is that what is happening at KPH, for example, is that there is a minimal number of staff available at a particular time. And this seems to me to go right back to the economic issue. Is that what is happening?
In respect of nurses, yes.
And doctors?
In respect of doctors, I don't expect that at all. That is not supposed to be the case. Unless they don't have the post to employ them. But especially relating to what I told you before, about the fact that we can train more local doctors, more Jamaican doctors, having a greater facility now that Mount Hope is open in Trinidad.
But when you train them and they graduate, you're going to have to pay them.
That's the problem. But another thing in our favor is that there used to be abundant spaces abroad in Canada and United States for the employment. Not so anymore. It's difficult to go over there to get jobs to stay on.
I see.
You can get trained, but you usually have to come back. So there's no question that it's easier for us now to fill the posts of doctors in our service. But the problem is the restrictions imposed by the economy in terms of having the numbers of posts. And I've criticized this administration for creating more posts in the regional health authorities for management purposes than for providing the posts for doctors for the service needs.
Yes.
They need to provide more posts for doctors to provide the service needs. But in any case, Kingston Public Hospital I would imagine, has a minimum of 3 surgical firms. So in the surgical department, they will have a firm on duty. They will rotate. They will have a firm on duty, which involves having interns, residents, and consultants.
Yes.
And depending on the needs of a particular patient, the intern might take care of it, or they may have to call a resident, or the resident calls a consultant. Whatever it is, there is a set mechanism of making sure that the person is appropriately attended according to their needs, and quickly so.
Well, we hear a lot of
talk.
We hear a lot of talk about that, but every now and then there's a practical instance of it not going in that direction.
Well, that is where we have to address the question of how it is being administered.
Yes.
And the first thing that we have to deal with in Jamaica is the economy, because there are a lot of professionals in Jamaica willing and able to give adequate service. I even know a neurosurgeon now who is doing general practice. You know, we can't seem to absorb these skills because of the economy. People go abroad, get qualified in highly professional areas, come back to Jamaica, and there is no application. There's no posts, and there's no application of these highly professional skills, because the economy is of such, it is not absorbed.
The first thing we have to deal with in Jamaica is the economy.
That's the first. That is fundamentally what is wrong. The economy has frustrated everything else.
Karl Marx said that nearly a couple of 100 years ago. And there are people calling themselves economists in Jamaica who seem not to understand that.
Yeah, but to my mind, I'm not an economist.
Yes.
But fundamentally,
it's a matter of common sense.
Common sense.
Yes.
I can't understand.
We're hearing all about
the
budget deficit and the this, that, the other, and inflation and whatever. And we're not recognizing that the fundamentals have to do with consumption and production.
I personally believe it is because from the 70s, we had this sort of demagoguery whereby what was injected into the political arena is more sentimentalism and emotionalism rather than pragmatism.
Yes, indeed.
And people are not thinking in practical terms. In the
quite
60s,
true.
we did exceedingly well with it.
Quite true.
Yes. And we were doing well.
And not only that, there are certain deficiencies of thought, you see, because of the people don't have the kind of understanding of the language that they need to have. And I hear people chatting a lot of foolishness that clouds thought rather than,
Yes, it leads in no direction either.
Yes.
I think a lot of emphasis has been put, as we were talking about India earlier on.
Yes.
They say in India the choice to study social science and arts is a third choice or fourth choice.
Yes.
Most people want to go into the universities and the institutes of management and technological production.
Yes.
And the commercialization of technology. Rather than to go into social arts. It's just a different orientation.
Yes, indeed.
We're not and the same thing happened to us in the 60s. We were well on the road to becoming a newly industrialized country. And we dropped it. And Asia picked it up.
Lee Kuan Yew picked it up.
Yes, and all the newly industrialized countries, industrialization for export, have done exceedingly well. And those of us who went to an economy to knock out export and to try to be self-sufficient in terms of our own, eating our own food, and going to having our hotels filled with our civil servants. We are the ones that have gone down.
Yes.
Because you just can't isolate yourself like an island in this world. It's a globalized world.
Absolutely. Dr. Baugh, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
All the best to you. Okay, thank you very much. We're back online. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning to you, Mr. Perkins. I just have a little problem. I don't know if you can help me out.
Let's hear it.
My daughter was on her way from Montego Bay yesterday, and she left up documents with her stuff there on the market and the bus. I don't know if it is in Montego Bay or on the bus to St. Anne's, because I'm calling from Highgate.
What sort of document is this?
Birth certificate.
Oh, yes.
And other things, because she went on an interview.
Yes.
So if anybody's seen it anywhere, could try to get in contact with the nearest police station, or I could give them a number off the air and the name.
All right. Well, just hold on for a moment, and I'll have somebody take it for you. Okay? And I hope she finds it soon. Okay. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Perkins?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Mr. Perkins? What I want to know is, the police force in Jamaica here, when them drive over a police car in the night home, is the state pay for that gas?
Well, no. Do they, in fact, drive police cars home at night?
Yes. Well, they'll import more. You have at least about 50 to 60 cars parked in Portmore night time. Sometimes I wonder when you call the station, you can't get a car.
What, 50 to 60 cars?
Yes. If it's 2 in the morning, you see them with a police car coming over with their family and friends.
Oh, is that so?
You see, and people ball every day that the police don't have a car. It's the same police. And if you try to correct that now, they're going to say that why, you're fighting them and fighting them.
Yes.
And police can get car cheap to buy now, because if a police go to a car mart now, he can pay like 10% down on that car, even a second-hand car,
or a
brand new car.
Maybe even that is a strain for him. Given the kind of salaries that they're getting,
Well, it's today, I think the police pay not too bad today.
We're pressuring people into corruption in this country, sir. Some people, Others are in the position to...
Yeah, but Mr. Perkins, police pay better than 13 or 15 years ago. Police pay today.
Is it really?
Yes.
Why?
You have some policemen who own a BMW or Benz.
15 years ago, what was a policeman getting?
Well, I don't know the pay that you're going to get in, but obviously, everybody owning a car, some people buying house, some people buying that.
Hold on a minute. Go and look at the figures, right? And don't just look at the absolute figures, comparing say, £10 a month with £20 a month, right? Because, or dollars, whatever it is, right? Because you're going to have to do another comparison. You're going to have to relate the figures of 10 years ago, of 15 years ago, with the dollar of 15 years ago, with the dollar of today, right? 15 years ago, a dollar was worth one hell of a lot more than it is worth now. You know that?
We know that, Mr. Perkins. But I think the police them salary wise. I think the police them salary wise, none of them comfortable with that salary they have now.
Oh, you believe that?
Compare, yes.
I don't think that is correct.
I don't want to see naked police walking on the road.
You don't see naked?
I don't want naked police on the road walking. Them comfortable with the salary them getting.
No, I don't think so. That's not true. That is not true.
Yes. A man working more pay. Understand? Even the doctor now. Everybody ball and them.
Yes.
What
is a policeman? What is a policeman taking home a month, every month?
Yes. Depends on the rank. You have different police, different rank. Different rank police in the force. 15 years ago, over the years.
A police inspector.
Yeah.
As far as I understand it, I've heard this figure some time ago. I don't know to what extent it has changed. I'm not sure, but I don't believe it has significantly. A police inspector was taking home something like $40,000.
$40,000 a Perkins.
Uh-huh.
That is after him pay all his debt and so forth.
No, man. Pay all his debt like what?
But then like he's pay a credit card bill.
No. We're talking about paying his income tax and whatever. But policemen are not taking home any considerable sums of money.
I think they are telling some lie, Mr. Perkins. I think they are telling some lie on that.
It can't tell lie on that, sir, because these are public figures. I haven't looked at the matter recently in terms of the actual figures. I could find out, but they're not getting all that much.
Mr. Perkins, if a policeman be carrying home $40,000.
Yes.
And then you say a policeman has a brand new car. He don't do another work, this is his only work him do. And when you see him bring home a brand new car, how much him pay per month for a car mortgage?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how we came by it.
And Mr. Perkins, you ever check on the Beverly Hills side and Jacksonville side how much police officers have big apartment, big house, living up those sides?
Yes. Well,
how do I achieve that?
Again, we don't know. We don't know what is happening, might be happening there, you know.
So we assume that all the police, most of the police, them involved in criminal activity.
I don't know, sir. I wouldn't say that, right? I wouldn't say that. But I know that police are not well paid in this country. Right? There's no question about that.
Today, you know, I think they're better off today than they were.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Because if I get a police car to drive home and I don't have to pay a bus to go home and come back. I'm cool. And lunch, probably lunch might take a thing from him. And I'm very fan of policeman. Well, police are about 3, 4, 5 women, 6 baby mother and so forth. What them do that?
Okay.
So Perkins, we need to check out how the police them operate.
Somebody has called to say that the police inspector gets is a basic of 70,000 a month.
70,000. Okay,
but that's the inspector, you know. Okay.
But after a period of time, Mr. Perkins, by getting rid of pay every year or every 2 years, the pay go up.
Yes, but while the pay is going up, sir, the last time while the pay is going up, they're giving them 3% increase, right? After inflation has taken away much more than that percentage of the value of the dollar, right?
Okay.
You get, in some years, and the figures that the government gives you for inflation are not, I don't think, honest figures, you know. Because they're operating on the basis of a basket of goods, right?
Okay.
And what that is, how accurate those figures are depend upon the basket that has been selected, right? And how long ago that basket was selected, and whether the patterns of consumption and so on have changed, right? And you're giving 3%, and the dollar has lost 10% of its value.
Mr. Perkins, it's sometime in last year, the opposition leader side saying they should give the policemen at least 70%. I don't think nowhere in the world nobody gets 70% increase. Nowhere.
Well,
70% increase.
I don't know. The question is, how long have the police been suffering, and other government servants, been suffering severe losses of income arising from the constant inflation of the dollar? Right? Over the last, to go, for example, by the exchange rate, right?
Yeah.
In 1989,
yeah,
the dollar was $5.50 to the US dollar.
Now it's about 60 something.
Now it's 60. It's just under 68, I believe, no? 67.8 or something, 1.5.
Okay. You know what I mean, Mr. Perkins?
What?
I know two policemen. I'm going to scout out and find out the wage. These are policemen just start to work.
Yes.
I mean, young policemen. Right? And again, I see the government get a new car out there by Oak Road. Like a new car.
Yes.
The amount of cars this government gives the police and since them coming to power. Holy for cars.
Yes. But hold on a little bit.
What are those cars?
Hold on a little bit. If the dollar was 50.5, 5.5, no? Right?
Yes.
And is now nearly 70. Right?
Yes.
Well, divide 5.5 into 70 or into 68 point whatever, right?
Yeah.
And come up with the extent to which the value of the dollar has been diminished.
Okay.
And then ask yourself, or look into the issue of whether the policeman or the civil servant or whomever is getting that number of times more in nominal terms than he was getting in 1989. Okay?
Okay,
you're going to find that the dollar is diminished in terms of exchange. Some of more than 12 times probably. Right?
Okay.
Is the man getting more than 12 times what he was getting in 1989?
Mr. Perkins, if we give the police 70%, we'll have to give the teacher and the doctor 70%, and all the civil servants 70%.
Well, but what is the problem? You know what the problem is? The problem is that the economy has been grossly mismanaged. The government, hold on just a moment for me. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. Hello?
Hello, Mr. Perkins.
Yes, you're saying?
Yes. Mr. Perkins, what I understand is that no government in the world can please everybody.
Can please everybody.
Right. No government. You understand?
That is not the issue, sir. That is not the issue. The issue is whether the economy is being managed in a way that makes sense. Right? The government of Jamaica is managing the economy of Jamaica in a way that results in huge increases in the amount of debt, right? And they tell us about GDP going up, which is a load of nonsense, really, right? The economy is not expanding at the rate that it should be expanding. Look at what is happening in places like China and India. Right? What is happening? The very opposite going on in the economy of Jamaica is stagnating.
Okay.
Right? For years, the government has been encouraging the owners of capital not to put their capital into productive investment, building factories and whatever to provide opportunities for people to work and create wealth and make good, decent livings. Right? Hold on. The government has been encouraging these people who have the capital to put their capital into government paper, lend government the money, and then what does the government do with it?
What I can give you a thing, American. It's enough people. They talk about factory. It's the factory owner, right? The man who operates the factory now. He buys 50,000 of material and produce. The same staff, member staff, they hustle. They start hustle. They thief like 15,000 of material from that. So
them don't thief the material.
They thief like 15,000 of material from that and call it hustle. Why they can't read the cars, boy? No,
hold on. That is, I agree with you that is part of what is happening.
That is plenty much.
We are creating an environment that is very unattractive to investment.
All right.
Okay?
Yes.
Now, if we keep going this way, we are going in deeper and deeper into poverty.
Okay.
And lawlessness. Okay?
How much salary a factory operator could pay to a single man from that factory?
A taxi operator? How much salary? What?
A factory. Well, then I operate a factory.
I
employ 50 person, right? And I am producing some shirt. How much salary? How much salary thing I could pay each one of those workers per week?
The amount. The possibility is infinite. It depends on how much is being produced by each one of those workers.
But again, Mr. Perkins, these same workers don't want to wear Jamaican. They want to wear something marked, made in Taiwan, made in USA.
Yes. Well, that has nothing to do with it.
You see, so what I produce now, as I said, for a cheap price on the road.
Yes, of course.
This is a local.
No, you're going to, what you produce, you can export.
Yes.
Right?
But
in the same way that Taiwan can export to Jamaica, you can export to Taiwan.
You know, the same thing much of free zone, Mr. Perkins.
What?
The same workers and workers the free zone. They are part of the country. They contribute to tearing down free zone too.
Well, part of the problem, sir, is yes, that our ethic of labor relations or labor relations ethic is not sound on, right?
But you know.
but all of this is a function of leadership.
Leadership, you mean like government?
Well, the government has. Well, look here. You remember Michael Manley in the 1970s?
Yeah.
And what he was carrying on? Is he mash up all that free zone business? You know.
No, I keep on saying much of free zone.
Well, not the free zone, but they because the free zone existed afterwards in the 1980s. But that surge that had been made in the 1960s, he destroyed.
Mr. Perkins, those operators at free zone, they want to find cheaper labor. Today,
no. Hold on a little bit. No. It isn't that they want to find, cheaper labor. It depends on what you mean by cheaper labor.
Yeah,
right? What they want is more efficient labor.
Okay.
Right? No. Because it isn't just a matter of what they are paying the laborer. Right? It is a matter of what the laborer is producing.
Okay.
Right? If he's producing 10 cents and they are paying him 20 cents, right? They would be better off paying him $20 if he were producing $200 or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? So it's the relationship. It's not only a matter of how much the worker is earning, but it's a matter of the relationship between what he earns and what he produces. Am I right?
Well, you're right there.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. All the best to you. Okay. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, sir. Morning.
Mr. Perkins, how are you today?
Not too bad. How are you?
Not too bad, sir. And over here sucking the salt through the wooden spoon.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I was listening to a conversation with Dr. Baugh. I think it's shameful and scandalous what they're doing up there by the university hospital. You know, why is it that everything this government touches just turn to one big cesspool of corruption?
You think that is what happens?
Hello?
You think that is what is happening?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, all the indicators are pointed towards that again. The cronyism, the improper awarding of contracts and stuff like that.
There's been a lot of those things, yes.
Yeah, it's so widespread. And I think it's costing the country dearly. And people need to realize what it is costing Jamaica. How much further we could be if we cut the corruption, if this government just cut the corruption in half.
Well, I don't know if the government can. Sister P did say when she was being sworn in as Prime Minister that her second commitment to the Jamaican people would be to eliminate corruption.
But she also said that she's going to build on P.J. Patterson legacy. And he has a legacy of corruption. I don't know.
Oh, well, don't say she didn't tell you the truth.
Well, at least we can say for one she was honest. At least we can say for one she was honest.
Well, I don't know if it was only for once, but, you know.
At least on that occasion. On that occasion.
Yes. When
we were forewarned.
When she told you about PJ's
building on PJ's legacy.
Well,
right?
Well, well.
But, you know, something I found interesting, Mr. Perkins.
What's that?
What is taking place in the People's National Party with the thing with Mr. Myrie. The allegations against him about him going around having sexual contact with a 15-year-old, someone who is underage. And the thing with Vandal Palmer down there, who is alleged to have been abusive to his wife. Right?
Alleged.
Yeah, and
Mr. Myrie, alleged.
Alleged, right.
So we have to be careful, right?
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is that
neither of them has yet been proven guilty.
It hasn't been proven, right? I thought that the Prime Minister, when she was speaking at her conference, came out and said that she was going to cut out the child molesters and take strong action against them on the women beaters and stuff like that. And she hasn't said a word about what is taking place with members of our own party.
No. But hold on a little bit. Both men have been accused of something.
Yeah.
Right? We don't know that there's been up to now. There's been no trial in the Mr. Myrie's case. The matter has not yet gone into the courts in the sense of, there being a trial.
Yeah.
Right? In the case of Mr. The other one, Van der Palmer.
Yeah.
My understanding is that his wife has withdrawn the complaint. So that is not going to go to trial. Right?
But remember, the police inspector came on the radio yesterday.
And not only that.
The entry in the station diary was missing.
Yes.
Understand? So, it's rather suspicious.
Well, I don't know. It's a little odd, isn't it?
Yeah. You know what this brings me back to was the situation in Spanish Town with Raymond Notice. All the PNP were quick to come out and saying that he should step down.
Yes.
And stuff like that. And yet still Danny Buchanan was coming out on radio yesterday saying that Van Farmer would not be asked to step down and that he's going to wait on the outcome of the case and stuff like that. So it's a double standard.
Well, I don't know, sir. Hold on just a moment. Okay, thank you very much. We're back online. Hello?
Yeah, Mr. Perkins. Yeah, as I was saying that there you can see a blatant double standard. This causes similar issues, and yet still the PNP is taking a different stance when it's one of their own.
Yes.
You know? Especially the PNP women movement who are so vocal. Right? I noticed that they have lost their voice.
And you're surprised?
No, I'm not surprised, you know. I think nothing that this government does surprise me, no, you know.
Oh, is that
what would be surprising to me is if they were to come out and speak the truth.
Oh, yes?
Yeah, and operate in the interest of the Jamaican public.
Oh, my God.
That would really take me by surprise.
Oh, Lord. Mine, you know, so mine you're operating out of color prejudice and class prejudice.
Far from it. Because I'm from the borders of the working class.
Oh, yeah? Well,
and I'm still in the working class.
According to...
I can't afford to wear those expensive suits that the Prime Minister is sporting.
Oh,
I take those expensive trips.
What you need is a wife to give you a credit card.
Well, I prefer to work for my own, and I don't want to be maintained.
Oh, Lord. Why not? Why not?
Well, I'm an independent person.
Yes, but she's independent too. I mean, she says her husband hasn't even asked her how much she earns as Prime Minister.
No, she said that he didn't ask her, and that he's a Minister of Finance as far as his pocket.
Yes, he didn't ask her. Right. But he gave her a credit card. Maybe you could find a rich wife to give you a credit card too.
Well, I'm not sure I'll be totally comfortable with that.
No?
I believe in paying my own way through life. I don't know, I might be stupid that way. That's one of the reasons why I've been shafted, because I play by the rules.
Oh, I follow you.
Well, you know, Mr. Perkins, before I forget, I'd just like to say condolences to the family of the police officer who was killed the other day.
Yes.
And totally regrettable the manner in which he was treated.
Yes.
At our public hospital. You know, this kind of highlights what regular Jamaicans go through on a daily basis.
The problem is that the hospitals don't seem to be adequately resourced.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe that is a large part of the problem.
Yeah, you know...
You have heard about this policeman.
Yeah.
You don't know how many other ordinary citizens
ordinary
have gone the same way.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just like the woman from Bermuda the other day.
Yeah.
Basically the same thing. You know? And it's totally regrettable. When you find a government that can find $5 billion to go waste on scandals White House in cost overrun. $5 billion to go waste in cost overrun. Right? And scandal White House and numerous other projects.
Is it $5 billion?
Roadworks. Hello?
Is it $5 billion?
Well, it would work out to about $5 billion.
All right, well, yes.
43 million US, I think
yes.
The figure was.
Yes.
All right? So I'm saying if they can find out the waste there and in NHDC, North Coast Highway, just to name a few, and they can provide the hospital with the basic necessities for them to function, to serve the poor Jamaican people that the Prime Minister claims to be from. Right?
Oh, well.
I think it's disgraceful. I mean, how can she feel good in herself to go up on stage and claim that she loves poor people and go around hugging and kissing the poor people then, yet not making sure that her government puts in place the necessary things?
Well, no, in fairness, all of this happened under Mr. Patterson, really. She was a member of the government. But she was a member of the government. A senior member of the government. Yes, she was a member of the government.
Right?
But I don't know how much she knew about what was going on.
She doesn't seem to know very much about what's going on, even though that she's the Prime Minister.
I don't know. I'm not going on to say that, but, you know.
I guess she still doesn't know.
I don't want to be considered,
Eh?
I don't want to be considered,
Poison mouth?
No, racially prejudiced. And what's the other one? Class prejudice, you know.
Yeah, I'm bashing the Prime Minister because she's a woman.
All that, you know.
Well, I'm not doing that because she's a woman, you know.
Uh-huh.
Right? Because I love women, you know.
I see.
Anybody who know me know that I love women.
You love them. You love them like how Sister P love the poor.
No, you know, because I'm not too sure whether she loves the poor.
You're not too sure?
Well, I guess maybe, you know, because I guess when you love something, you try to get more and more of it. So she's busy trying to create more and more poor people.
Oh, Lord. Don't say things like that about Sister P.
You mean Lady Huggins?
Lady Huggins, yes. Woman from the bowels of the working class.
No, I mean, she needs, well, I don't think she can do any better, you know.
You don't think so?
In all fairness, because it's obvious that after 18 years, these people don't have a clue what they are doing.
Well, she doesn't have to do any better. She loves the poor, and the poor love her.
And she goes around hugging
and on that basis, the poor will vote for her.
Yeah.
You don't think so?
Well, I'm not convinced of that, you know, because when I'm traveling around the island, most people that I come across and stuff like that is just saying that they're tired of this government.
Oh.
And they want to get that, they want a change. I don't think she's going to win this election, based on what I'm seeing out there on the ground.
How much you prepared to bet on that?
Eh?
How much you prepared to bet on that?
Well, based on the fact that I'm here sucking salt through wooden spoon, I don't have much to wager.
I see.
But I'm pretty confident that this is the last term. They're not going to get the fifth one.
Well, let's see.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Perkins.
Old time people say, no, not go up, not come. Hello? Hello?
Hello, Mr. Perkins?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Uh-huh.
I have a problem here, what I need to talk to you about.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, I want you to help me with this. I have a bill here that I paid. It have a due date on it, right?
Uh-huh.
A cable bill. Hello?
Yes.
It have a due date, which now, them put, it's a new due date on it now. And you have to pay $460 for 2 stations.
For what?
2 stations.
Yes.
Right? And it's 2 sports stations.
Uh-huh.
And them just put it in through the World Cup now. Right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that you have to have, on bills now, is 2 due date. You understand what I mean?
Uh-huh. What do you mean by 2 due date?
All right. You have to pay one the 4th, like the 4th of February,
uh-huh.
and then you pay one the 1st of February. You
uh-huh.
pay one 1st of February, you pay one the 4th. If you don't pay the Sports Max one, they just chopped it off.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I wondering. This is the first I hear this 2 due date.
I never heard of that, but can't you go and pay them both at the same time?
No, what I plan to do, you see people in Jamaica, these people in Jamaica, they take too much things. You understand? They take too much stupidness. So what I plan to do is cut off the cable. I do without.
Cut off the cable?
Yes. I can pay the bill, you know, but I'm going to cut off the cable because we're getting too much pound from the government comes straight down, Mr. Perkins. You know what this country need, Mr. Perkins? It need a court system like the one of England. Where you can try the politician them, you can try the police, you can try all of them system. You understand what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And just prison who for prison. Because public service, you're talking about extortionists, Mr. Perkins. You want to tell you extortionists them in this country? Huh?
What?
From the government to the GPS, the Digicel, the whole of them. All them know for start people, you know, the cable, the television people, them, the whole of them. Them are extortionists in this country, you know, Mr. Perkins.
Oh, yes?
Because it's the first I know you have to have. And when I call a lady, Mr. Perkins, at the cable station, and I said to her, I said, how comes you don't have 2 due date?
2 what?
2 due date.
Yes.
Hear what she said to me. They don't have no control over that. And it's them who pay to provide the service to we, you know. They don't have no control over that.
I see.
You understand?
I can't imagine what that is about.
I'm telling you. The GPS come, them criminal way. The digital come, them criminal way. Where poor people are going to do, Mr. Perkins?
I don't know if they're criminal way, so, but they're certainly operating.
Them are beat the pounds of hell out of Mr. Perkins.
They're certainly operating within the law, but the law is very generous towards them. You know, it allows them a lot of laxity and latitude.
Why, Mr. Perkins, may I tell you, them a beat the pang out of hell out of we, you know, Mr. Perkins.
You know, Mirant bankrupted itself.
Yes, I know that. I know that.
Came to Jamaica, man, and made it put itself back on.
I'll hold for come out now. Hold for run out, leave it.
But you know, they've had enough. They've had.
Them have enough, Mr. Perkins.
Yes, man.
Mr. Perkins, some of these people want to try. A thing need to set up in this country like the court of half a peel of England, Mr. Perkins. And sentence some of them people, you know, Mr. Perkins.
Sentence them?
Yeah, man, sentence them, man. Prison them. And who them thing, them a talk about hang some of them youth. Mr. Perkins, police are walk around are dead. Are dead just so. Sometimes, and a gunman do it. Sometimes, and them same colleagues, you know, Mr. Perkins.
Is that so? How you know that?
We ask them, Mr. Perkins. Sometimes you sit down someplace and you listen them talk, Mr. Perkins.
The policeman them?
We ask them, Mr. Perkins.
And what you hear them?
People for learn to think in this country, you know, Mr. Perkins.
That is true.
You can't throw down everything on the gunman them.
But you have to think on the basis of the evidence, you see?
Yes, that is true, Mr. Perkins. But sometimes you hear them talk, you know. Sometimes seem like the old criminal them out the road with bad mind, you know. Sometimes a policeman at the force and him get 2 stripes, you know. And the one where they when I have none, you know, Mr. Perkins. Him come and shoot him, kill him, you know.
You're joking.
We ask them, they don't know the country.
No, but how you know that? What evidence you have of that?
The man who play by the rule is the man that gets shafted.
All of that is true.
So you read a line, they're good.
All right.
And the gunman wanna do everything in this country. I know, Mr.
All right,
Perkins.
I have to go, eh? Thank you very much. Time for the news. We'll be back. Okay, thank you very much. Back here. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Mr. Perkins, can you hear me again?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Okay. Because personally, I always think that Jamaica won't be a better place until we get US dollars start running back right through Jamaica.
Oh? Why?
Sir?
Why?
Because I think it's the maybe the only strategy that we can use right now to better the value
when you
of the
say
Jamaican dollar.
When you say getting US dollar running back to Jamaica, what does that mean?
Like I asked you earlier, if the people that work in the tourism industry get paid in US currency.
Yes.
And don't you think that would be a way to get more US dollar into the Jamaican system?
But why?
Sir?
Why? Why would that be so?
The people would have more US bank accounts, right?
But let us suppose that they did. So what? How would that help Jamaica? I don't think it would help. Hold on, sir. What we need in Jamaica is an enormous increase in the levels of economic activity. That's what we need.
Okay.
In a general sort of way.
Now, there's another concern, Mr. Perkins. In 2004, right?
Yes.
I'm a Jamaican. I'm working in Grand Cayman. I brought a car in from Japan. I went on a website. I found a website that's selling cars in Japan. I sent my money to the dealer in Japan. They shipped my car to me here in Grand Cayman. 2004. It was a 1993 car with 25,000 miles on it. Paid 27.5% duty of what the car was cost to clear.
That's 27.5%. That's the duty you pay in Cayman?
Yes, sir. 27.5%.
Oh, Lord.
As a Jamaican, cleared my car without a permit.
Yes.
And it was an 11-year-old car. Now I understand in Jamaica, Mr. Perkins, that your car has to be no older than 3-year-old for you to be able to ship a car to Jamaica.
Oh, is that so? I didn't know that.
Yes, sir. Yes. You have to pay 126% of what the cars cost, what you pay for the car. You have to get a permit to ship a car before you ship the car. Or if you don't get the permit and ship the car, they could seize your car. And you can only bring in one car every 3 years.
Yes. Yes, there are a lot of restrictions in Jamaica.
I'm a Jamaican here, and I did that here in Grand Cayman. And in Jamaica, it is so hard for me to ship a car in.
Yes.
And Jamaica is doing all of that, and Jamaica is still not flourishing.
That's quite true. Grand Cayman, the Cayman Islands, on the other hand, are flourishing and have been for some time.
Absolutely.
In fact, they haven't ceased flourishing since they stopped flourishing, since they separated from Jamaica in 1962.
Right.
Yeah. What's the value of the Caymanian dollar?
Perkins. The health system in Jamaica.
What's the exchange rate in Cayman?
In Cayman, it's now a 77 Jamaican dollar for one Cayman dollar.
77 Jamaican dollars.
77 for one Cayman dollar.
What is the rate of exchange to the American dollar?
1 American dollar, 80 cents Cayman.
Well, that's how...
I'm sorry. One, okay.
One Caymanian...
80 cents Cayman is $1 US.
$1
right.
US.
I'm right.
That's about where it was in 1962.
I'm sorry?
I say it has remained stable since 1962.
Yes. Beautiful.
Right?
The health system in Jamaica, Mr. Perkins. Here in Grand Cayman, if there's an accident, the ambulance is there.
Yes.
The fire truck is there.
Yes.
And they're there within 7 minutes.
Within 7 minutes.
Regardless of where the accident is located on Grand Cayman.
Yes.
Why don't we have that in Jamaica?
Because we have a different government. You know, when one thinks of what Cayman was like in 1962 and what Jamaica was like then and is now, maybe if we had gone the route of Cayman, we might have done better.
I think so, and I've had many debates on that topic, Mr. Perkins, with some people here. You know, we were tricked as far as I'm concerned. My personal opinion, in 1962, if you do a survey in each communities, or if you do a survey in Jamaica in 1962, maybe 25% of Jamaica had 5 subjects or more. Maybe 25%. And a country like that just definitely wasn't ready to be run by themselves yet. And that's my opinion. That's my opinion, Mr. Perkins. what I have to say to the Jamaican people, because what I've drawn from it is that, you know, we've been brainwashed and tricked, and it's time for Jamaican people to wake up and realize living standards are out there. Jamaica is a very nice place with a lot of resources for us to live off and benefit off and complete with all these places that are flourishing, like Cayman and all those places.
Yes.
And, you know, we can do it if we just stop allowing politicians to trick us and fool us every time. A lot of Jamaicans now, Mr. Perkins, think it's very expensive to pay $100 to stay in a hotel for one night or to take a vacation. That's the cheapest hotel you'll get in Grand Cayman.
How much is that?
And Caymanians can afford that.
How much is that?
$100.
$100 per night.
For the per night, and that's not all inclusive. There are only 2 all-inclusive hotels in Grand Cayman. All the others, anywhere you stay, you just pay for the room, and then you have to go wherever and eat, and you pay and eat somewhere else.
And you can walk out on the street and go around it any hour of the day or night.
Any hours of the night. Sleep on the beach, walk on the streets, you're free to.
You know, Cayman was a dependency of Jamaica up to 1962.
Yes, sir. I Mr. Perkins, I've been here for 11 years. I've applied for my residency here in Grand Cayman, and the other day I did a test on how much I know about the island.
Yes.
And I did a lot of studies on the island. I read a lot of history books, and so I know all that. Yeah.
Oh boy. What happened to us, I wonder?
I don't know. Politicians, Mr. Perkins, those politicians, I didn't graduate from high school, all right? I don't have one subject.
Yes.
So, if I'm still smart enough to figure this out, all the politicians that are in Jamaica right now are lawyers and doctors. They're much smarter than I am. So they know better. They just don't want to do better, Mr. Perkins. And Jamaica people must wake up and realize and stop jump around when they come around and give you $500 every election, and give these guys guns and all that kind of stuff. And Jamaica people must wake up, and do something about these politicians, because they're just plain and straight tricking the Jamaican people every time, and we should stop having all that.
Well, sir, I hope people are listening to you. You know, we really are in a mess in this country. What about the levels of crime in Cayman?
The level of crime? The level of crime, I mean, the level of crime rose, and that was when they brought in the visa. And since they brought in the visa, it has fallen right back down. You have 1 or 2 murders. You know, they're very far and few in between. I mean, these securities in Grand Cayman, they don't have guns. We have had 1 bank robbery in 10 years. You know, and it's just, you can sleep with your door open pretty much, Mr. Perkins.
Yes.
Yeah.
How many murders have you had for the year? Last year?
For this year so
far? For last year?
For this year so...
This year so far?
For last year? For this year so far, 1.
One this year?
Yes. 1 this year so far.
Mark,
for last year...
The Canadian population is a lot smaller than Jamaica's. But still.
It is, yes.
You know? Well, it's nice hearing from you. Enjoy yourself.
Nice talking to you too. I've been trying to get you all morning.
Huh?
I've been trying to call your radio
well, you must do
all
that.
Morning.
You must do that more often, man. We like hearing
I'm going
from
to try to, sir. I just got your number this morning.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
So Mr. Perkins.
Thank you very much for calling. There you have it. People are living much better lives there than... You know, Cayman is, I think, the 5th. They have the 5th largest banking deposits in the world. And that is what they're really thriving on. Banking. Hello?
Hello, Mr. Perkins.
Hi. How are you doing?
Well, I'm not bad.
Yes?
But struggling along.
Sucking salt.
Head two more than wooden spoon.
What, a golden spoon?
God have mercy. Mr. Perkins. We have two history to talk to you about.
Hold on a moment first. Thank you very much. Back on line. Hello?
Yes, Mr. Perkins.
Yes, sir.
I was listening to a call. I will call you and were telling you about the police.
Yes.
Then what the difference? The police working and suppose them want to live at Beverly Hills. And them can afford it. Nobody not supposed to quiet.
I can see no reason why anybody should be of any concern to anybody.
Is what him work and him want live a good life. Him live a good life.
Oh, of course.
It don't matter how him get the money for nobody cry out for losses.
Well, I don't know. It might matter. I mean, if a policeman is seen to be living what, on the face of it, is above his means, then it might raise questions of suspicion, What?
Then, Mr. Perkins. What about the man when not working? And him can live at Beverly Hill and live at Tony Hill, wherever.
And drive a flashy car and,
And you never see them at work and you don't see them with no business.
But you don't think that the police themselves are keeping a close eye on people like those?
The what, sir?
You don't think that the police themselves keep a close eye on people like those?
Well, could be, but my thinking is that the police working day and night. And if he want to live at Beverly Hill, if him come can provide him
yes,
a home
if he has a legitimate
whether in gamble or in whatever, him free to live there.
In my estimation, yes. I see no reason why not.
And a man where I think about your income, he don't think about the politician income.
Yeah.
Plenty politicians don't have them home and from them enter politics. Them not live there anymore. Them too static figure live at that such place where they used to live.
Well, then the same thing that you say applies to them,
And the artist part of it, where they live is you have to pay for it. So, the police, they aren't asking anybody to pay fee. Whether I want to have Beverly Hills or no.
Yes, well, sir, I suppose that the good life is associated with political success in Jamaica.
And then,
that's why when you're in there and you're living the life, you don't particularly want to leave.
And then, Mr. Perkins, final.
Yes.
Mr. Discom, I don't want to go too far in the court.
Yes.
But did they find him with a gun?
I don't know. I wonder what the evidence of that is. And it would be the first time. I've never heard of a case before. Now, this thing happened 2 months ago. More than 2 months ago, according to what I hear on the news. Now, if he had been found with an unlicensed, or there was evidence that he had an unlicensed firearm, do you know of any case, have you ever heard of a case, in which a man was reported to have, was said to have had an unlicensed firearm? It took the police 2 months, or the prosecution, 2 months to do anything about it.
You come in to me,
then,
your staff hardly can hear you.
Well, I'm saying.
That's it better.
Yes, okay. 2 months ago.
Yes.
This happened. Right? An unlicensed firearm was involved, according to the prosecution.
Yes.
And it was 2 months before anything was done about it? A. B. He was, served a summons? to court?
Yes.
For an unlicensed firearm? Eh?
So, that mean...
Him almost coming like Danai Williams.
Lord have mercy. Is that stupid? They shouldn't even waste time in a court with that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm in no position to say that.
Me can't say it,
but it strikes me as very odd.
Man with unlicensed firearm at jail in go.
That's my understanding.
Do you think I could tell the police, say, you draw unlicensed firearm on me, and then...
And then what?
And then them come and lock you up. You don't want no lawyer.
No.
I'll serve you summons.
No, I wouldn't. I don't think I'd need a lawyer. Because first of all, how would you know that the firearm was unlicensed?
She said that is definitely set up.
Eh? Unless Mr. Giscombe does not own a licensed firearm. But then I heard that on the radio that he did own a licensed firearm. Right? So how would this man know that the firearm that he saw was unlicensed?
But in another matter, the other angle around, how the police or the judge or whatever it be know that he did have a firearm?
Oh, that what?
And that him did have a unlicensed firearm?
Well, I don't know. The judge hasn't said that he had one yet. But
there are others. I think there are others matter which more should really go in court more than that.
Well, I don't know, sir. And the question is, well, I don't know. I don't know whether there were other witnesses and so on, you know. I don't know. But one looks forward to hearing Marco, if it goes before the firearms court, what's it called? The gun court. Yes, if it goes before the gun court, then you won't hear the evidence, you know.
But 2 months? 2 months?
Yes. A long time.
And him been served summons? Mr. Perkins, them then I need a liar.
Yes. And what a coincidence that he was prosecuted all before the court at just about the time that this thing was coming up in St. Elizabeth.
You know, it coming like the case with the evidence with the me and them where man hold up the person with the papers them and take them away.
Oh yes.
You never hear about that?
Yes, I heard about that one.
My mother.
Oh boy.
But let me tell you something, Sir Perkins. No rabbit can weigh more than his quarter. For if you even put iron to balance the scale, it still don't weigh more. And in quarter. Anyway, you have a nice day.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. All the best to you.
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Perkins. I'm sorry I catch you just the time before lunch, but...
Before what?
Before 1 o'clock. You're going for news at 1, I take it.
Going to what?
You're going for break at 1 o'clock.
No, man, you don't. No. We take a break as usual, but
Okay, let me first of all commend you on the wonderful work in which I think you've been doing.
Oh, is that so?
And I'm going to ask you, please, when you do in fact get commendations, try not to interfere with the market values of respect of which you sometimes...
Not to interfere with what?
The market values of respect of which sometimes you do.
Oh?
Did you ever imagine, Mr. Perkins, when you first started radio, you once told me in the 60s that a time would come when you would be speaking to the world at large?
No, sir, I didn't think of it. Marky, I don't know that I'm speaking to the world at large, but
well,
we are on the internet, yes, that's what you mean.
I've been around, and people spoke about your show in different countries, and people sending email and stuff like that, etc. So anywhere you are on the planet, you can tune in to Mr. Wilmot Perkins.
Yes, but sir, if my father were suddenly to reappear on this planet, he would be amazed when he saw a television set, Right?
Yeah. Well, we give thanks for technology, but
that's what I'm saying, yes.
It is what we then make, what use do we make of it? Do we use it to properly inform the people as to what exactly is happening, or we use it to spread propaganda? So, stuff like that. But when the then Prime Minister, Right Honorable Patterson, entered office, he spoke very firmly on family values and attitude.
Yes.
I would like, if you could get him on this program, to find out if in his mind, if he thinks he has accomplished anything near that.
You really think that Mr. Patterson would come here to be asked that question?
Well, Mr. Perkins, one of your greatest ever listenership, in my view, was when I'm speaking locally, because you weren't on the internet then. You remember that time when you were expected to speak to the Prime Minister? The whole country waited breathlessly for that interview with you and PJ Patterson.
On my program?
Yeah, I think you
or
were...
on Ronnie Thwaites' program?
No, and you have interviewed the Prime Minister, haven't you?
Yes, I think I did.
Yeah,
once.
you were at KLAS in Mandeville.
Yes, I think I remember that once.
Yeah, and
yes.
Yeah, so a lot of people waited breathlessly for that interview.
I hope they weren't too
I guess they were expecting some punches thrown from either, because you said that you and him went to school at, was it Calabar High School?
No. He and I were not in school. Not by my recollection.
Okay, so you were before him in school.
I was before him in school.
But
he claimed that he and I were in school together. Yes.
And do you dismiss that claim? Have you dismissed that claim?
That claim?
Yeah.
Well, it is absolutely without foundation as far as I'm concerned. He was on a program on KLAS, being interviewed by, what's her name? She now writes a column in the Herald, I think. And she asked him, oh, by the way, Prime Minister, were you in school with Wilmot Perkins? And he said, oh yes, I was in the second form and he was in the, I meaning he. He was in the second form and I was in the...
Mr. Patterson speaking?
Yes.
Yeah, what did he say?
He said that he. He said I meaning he.
Right.
Was in the second form and he was in the fifth form. And I used to go across to the fifth form and walk in there, they used to have the most interesting debates and discussions and I would join in and And when...
as in you or him?
No, he's the one now.
Joining in.
Hold on a moment for me. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here.
Yes, Mr. Perkins.
Yes, he said he used to come to debate and when they asked him what he was doing there, just, pay them no attention and go on. And maybe that is what I had against him, you see. So she said to him, by the way, Prime Minister, what years were you at Calabar? He said, I went there in 1948 and I left in 1953. Well, it just happens that I left in 1947. Right?
So, and you were supposed to have been in, second form?
No, I was in the fifth form.
Oh, you were in the fifth form?
Yes.
And he was in the second form?
Yes, in 5A.
Okay. Because, Mr. Perkins, I don't think it is, it's very important that if we had, former prime ministers of this country, and, I see it happen other countries as well, that, they should be subjected to interviews so that, where they would have liked to see this country, go, rather than just, being a PM and then exit, and that's the end of it. I think it's very important that, we try and get,
That is quite true, but the people of Jamaica, sir, we need to get our heads together. And we need to understand that what is important about choosing a prime minister is not choosing somebody who is charming and, who is hug and kiss and whatever. It is choosing somebody who can lead this country somewhere that you would want to go. Right? And that is our problem.
When he spoke then on family values and attitude, I hear yourself and other callers spoke about places like India.
Yeah.
Do you realize, Mr. Perkins, that those places also help to build on the foundations of family?
Yes.
Grouping together.
Yes.
Putting resources together.
Absolutely.
And then, they have a greater voice in what happens in their community.
Yes.
And situations like these. So, if you're going to speak on family values and attitude, one would have thought that he would want to go all the way. In your opinion, do you think he has accomplished that? Bringing the families of Jamaica together?
I tell you what you do, sir. Ask Mr. Patterson and see what he tells you.
I don't have connection with the Prime Minister.
Eh?
I don't have connection with the former PM.
Well, I doubt that even he would tell you that he had accomplished any such thing.
On hospital and education, Mr. Perkins, in my opinion, these are, to me, the very fundamental circumstances that could help to shape the country in the future it goes. If you have a country and there's no proper health care, then it means then the health of the citizens who reside in that country is at stake.
Yes.
And if there's not a proper educational system, then that means the future for the generation coming is also at stake. Now, I'm just a bit worried, Mutty, that because education and health isn't at where we would have liked it to be. And there, I hear you said the government is short of money, etc. Even if they try to tackle these two individual problems, say, well, then we're going to make sure that health is in at least 90% and education 90%. You realize that one cannot achieve without, there's a link with everything. In other words, with education, the children have to go to school, so we have to have proper roads.
Yes.
I hear a lady calling telling you that one of her, children has to walk miles before they could get a vehicle to go to school. So if you don't have proper road, they won't get to school.
Yes.
If the ambulance,
have great difficulty.
I beg your pardon?
They'll have great difficulty.
Precisely. So you're talking about education there being damaged.
Yes.
Whether it's going to be for 2 years or a year behind. Missing a day in school. That's how far I would stress it to be. So if you call the ambulance and there's where you live, there's not proper roads so that the ambulance could reach you in time.
Yes, you might have difficulty getting to the hospital.
How are you going to come out of this mess, Mr. Perkins? Because you cannot properly build the foundation of hospitals and education.
We need, sir, a different kind of politician. And in order to get that different kind of politician, we need a different kind of people. Right? We need a people who are serious about themselves, who hold themselves in high esteem, and think that they deserve better than they're getting now. Right? That's where it must start. And are prepared to think seriously about the predicament in which they find themselves and how they can get out of it. All right?
And another thing, Mutty, when prime ministers or representatives of government goes overseas to attract investors in the country, frankly, I'm going to be very honest. I don't say it is not important, because we need investors in this country. But I'm sure these people have their disposable income to invest. I'm sure they would want to research the country before they go.
I don't think that I don't think it has been claimed that the Prime Minister has been going abroad to attract investors to the country, sir.
Isn't that part of what the trips are about?
I certainly see no evidence of that happening.
That's not the part of what her trips is about?
I don't think so.
Our Prime Ministers?
Not as far as I have heard. I've never heard that suggested.
So what do we do to promote investors in this country?
Well, first of all, we need to get the country into a different kind of situation. We need first to educate our people. We need to make people, to give our people, we need a cultural change, right? We need that. We need people to understand the importance of work and of hard work, right? No employer is going to pay you out of his own pocket, right?
Right.
When a man puts his capital down here, he's not looking to wear that capital thin, paying people for doing nothing. He wants people to work, to join him. He has capital, you have energy and skills. You put those two together, you make money, and you get your share of it and I get my share. Right?
But you realize, Mr. Perkins, that is not going to come unless we first of all create almost a crime-free environment.
Well, that is part of the process of creating the crime-free environment. Because considerable part of the reason for the crime is that people do not have opportunity to make decent livings and to be able to have decent lives.
Yeah, but help me out here, Mutty. Where is the foundation of the start? Because it has to start from somewhere, you know.
Hold on, sir. How men organize to produce the means of their subsistence constitutes the fundamental relations of society.
Yes, but
Karl Marx said that in the middle of the 19th century.
Right, but one of the greatest weapons used against us, Mutty, is disorganization as a people.
Disorganization.
Right. I don't think we have managed to organize ourselves properly.
Yes, that's true.
So, you know, it's going to be very difficult to create that.
But don't really seem to be interested in organizing production. Because when I hear economists talking about what is going on here in Jamaica, I hear about balancing the budget and, you know, exchange rate and this, that, and the other. I hear very little talk about how are we going to get this economy developing, moving forward, right? Transforming itself from the kind of primary production that we engage in now, for the most part, into some kind of manufacturing process, something of the kind, right? How are we going to put our labor force to work? We are content to pretend that we have brought unemployment down to 8-point-something%. You really believe that?
Well, you know, that's all political speeches, Mr. Perkins.
Yes, all right.
But do you think, as a fellow Jamaican, do you think we consume too much?
No, we consume too little.
Yeah, but but we have to balance that reasoning, Mutty.
What? How?
Because if you're saying we consume too little, have we produced enough to consume what we're consuming?
No, we are consuming too little because we are producing too little.
Precisely. But so you're saying that we're not consuming enough then?
Absolutely.
Because we're not producing enough.
Because we're not producing enough.
But at the phase of it, when you wait up, do you see consumption and production balancing?
Production and consumption are related, yes.
Right.
People produce in order to be able to consume.
Precisely.
Right? We do not have the opportunity to produce. Because we have not created the kind of environment in which people would rush to invest their money.
You know, when I look at a small country like Jamaica, and I see the amount of cars here, and, you know, I hear a lot of people saying there's too much cars on the road, and I'm sure I heard you one time say that the person who's saying that there's too much car, he's not thinking for a minute to withdraw his car on the road. What he's saying is that me and you must not drive a car.
Well, but I still do believe that there are too many cars on the road.
That's the point I'm getting at.
Hold on just a moment.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. We're back here.
Yes, Mutty, you were making reference in regards to the cars.
Yes.
Yeah.
I still think that we have too many cars in Jamaica. That would have been better. I suspect that per capita, we have more cars in Jamaica than they have in Britain.
You serious, Mutty?
I strongly suspect that.
The population of Britain is 57 to 60 million people.
Yes.
The population of Jamaica is 2.7 to 3 million.
Yes.
And you're saying to me that you suspect that we have more cars in Jamaica than in Britain.
Per capita.
Yeah, but, okay, let us say that is true. So we're going right back to consumption and production.
No. Well, I don't know, but the people, first of all, a lot of people have cars in, the purpose of having a car, what's the purpose of having
From taking it to point A to point B.
From point A to point B.
Precisely.
Right? I mean, that is the
essential
intelligent purpose of having a car. Right? There are places where people have cars for the status of having a car.
Are you making reference in regards to Jamaica?
Well, that may be so here. But the ordinary intelligent man wants to be able to get from here to there conveniently. Right? And if he can do so without having the bother when he gets there of having to go look for parking spot and all this kind of business.
Because that is time consuming.
It is time consuming.
Yeah.
So if you have, as they have in a city like London, a first-class public transportation system.
Right.
And varied. Right? You can get a bus, you can get a tube, and you can ride comfortably on them, and you can get wherever you want to go and quickly and all this kind of thing. Right? And relatively cheap by comparison with having a car. Right? I think a lot of people take that option.
Yeah, but Mutty, you see, when I say everything is linked, you know,
yes.
Even you referring to motor cars in comparison with London and Jamaica,
yes.
We're going right back to the situation of crime, you know. Because you, first of all, would have to want to feel comfortable.
Yes.
Or at least in a very safe environment. So, for instance, I'm taking a taxi.
Well, people do feel comfortable.
Precisely.
Taking public transportation in London.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. But yes. I'm making reference in regards to here. That if you take a taxi from here to say from Santa Cruz and you're going towards Kingston, you're not guaranteed that the man who is sitting beside you is not harmed, you know. Illegally.
Yes.
So, you know, these are some of the reasons why I'm sure what percentage of people who drive cars, you know, push them in that direction.
But look here, sir. I'm not saying that this country can go forward in any one direction without dealing with other issues.
I'm not advocating that either.
No. So we have to deal with the crime. But in dealing with the one, we help to deal with the other.
Yeah, but this is why I'm saying why this is almost a never-ending struggle in regards on the government, because each one is linked with each other.
Hold on. The problem in Jamaica, sir, a large part of it is that the government is not about giving people the opportunity to live decent lives. That's not what government in Jamaica is about. Right? Not the people generally. I can't see that as being expressed in the government's policies.
Yeah. I've been under here for some time. I'm going to step aside and give some other people a chance. But before I go, Mutty, the Don Figueroa Mountain, are you acquainted with that name?
Yes.
Yeah, it's in your parish there, St. Elizabeth.
Don Figueroa Mountains.
Right.
Yes.
There is a road coming off Pepper Spring Road that leads you onto a road called Gentle Hill. A friend of mine asked me to give it a mention. Now, if there should be, say, an accident on Spur Tree, or somewhere near Hatfield there, coming in the intersection from Mandeville, just approaching Spur Tree.
Yes.
I would advocate that they get the bypass road up and running. So, you know, if there should be a collision there and, you know, there is problem in people maneuvering, trying to get from A to B, they could have that road and use it as an alternative. I think it is Mr. Dan Peart who is...
But people also live around there.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If you make...
This is the road that leads from Hatfield back out to Spurtree. You're talking about?
The history of there, you know, to what elders told me from the community who live in Pepper and places, adjoining area. They said this is where people used to gather and go to Mandeville. Coming from, whether they're coming from Santa Cruz, they used to go on Pepper. You know Pepper Spring Road?
Pepper Spring Road.
Yeah, where Pepper all-age school is, or primary school. When you come below gutters there.
Yes.
And you go down some more, maybe you drive about 50 or so yards down.
Yes.
You do a right turn off. That road you'll enter, it's a second right turn. Just before the bus stop. There's a bus stop there that takes you past Pepper School and take you on Pepper School Road.
Yes.
That takes you on to Gentle Hill Road. I understand that road could actually take you towards Hatfield. So I'm saying those little roads need to fix. And even if you fix them, then you close it off. So in case of an emergency, small vehicles like motor cars and bike, etc., could use that route as an alternative to get to Santa Cruz.
But what happened to the people who live in that area? Don't they want the road want the use of it too?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Mr. Perkins.
Yes.
But they'd use transportation as well. So they would use it as a route to get home as well. So it would benefit not only the people who live in that community.
All right, so
we'll ask Mr. Peart to have another look on that route.
Okay, thank you very much. All the best to you. Okay, we have some email here. No? Oh, Mr. Mullins is here. Oh, sorry about that. Hello?
Yes, hello.
Mr. Mullins, good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
How are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you.
Good. I hear you, you were on the very vocal in Parliament recently on the...
Oh, the proceeds of crime?
Eh?
The proceeds of crime?
Yes.
Yes. I think that the approach that has been taken has run the risk of jeopardizing issues of innocence until proven guilty.
Yes.
And I think we're dealing with it in a very superficial way. And there are very serious questions to be answered. I hope that the Senate and the senators look at the legislation very, very carefully.
Yes.
Because there are some things there where a court can assume guilt based on information placed before it. That is totally unacceptable.
A court can assume guilt?
Yes, based on information laid before it by the DPP or the Financial Investigations Division. And then you have a duty. You have to...
Well, that information would be evidence.
No, not evidence. Information. You don't have to bring evidence, which will have to be tested on oath to contest the information brought against you.
What sort of situation does that have in mind?
Well, it takes into account, for instance, where assets are concerned, because the legislation is designed to get at what they deem the proceeds of crime. But where they can't prove that the assets that you have were directly acquired by virtue of the crime with you're charged. So what they do, they try and deem what they call a criminal lifestyle. And in doing that, they place information before a judge. And the judge can assume, based on information placed before him or her, that indeed the proceeds or the property was acquired by virtue of a crime.
But you would have had to have been convicted of a crime before.
Well, in some instances, why do I say that? In the definition of criminal lifestyle, it speaks to offenses in the schedule. These offenses would include money laundering, drug trafficking, breaches of intellectual property, kidnapping, and things of the sort, and attempts to do these things.
Yes.
But there's also another provision that speaks to criminal activity. Now, if in the interpretation of a criminal conduct, it is where one, you're convicted of an offense in another jurisdiction, and that will be an offense in your own jurisdiction, even if you didn't commit it here. Right? So you can deem from that. So what happens in one jurisdiction can be enforced against you here.
Wait, hold on a minute. So if I go to the United States,
yes,
and I am found to be in the United States convicted of drug trafficking,
yes,
right?
Yes.
They send me to prison and then deport me.
Yes.
I come back to Jamaica. What is the good Jamaican authorities going to do? Are they going to take me before the courts and to say that the property that I have in Jamaica,
yes,
I acquired through this illicit thing that I did in the United States?
Yes.
Right? And that therefore the court they want to seize that property, take it away from me.
Yes.
I beg your pardon?
Yes, they can do that.
Without having to prove
yes,
the connection between that property and what was done
exactly
elsewhere?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And this is why I say the legislation is very, very dangerous. I go further. The minister can increase the number of offences in the schedule. He'd have to come to Parliament and get an affirmative resolution. But the minister can increase and put other offences in the schedule. So it is wide open.
Oh boy.
So it is legislation that requires very careful scrutiny.
Yeah.
For instance, one of the aspects of the legislation deals with the not only issue of you leading evidence to rebut information placed before a court, but they can up to 10 years afterwards seek to forfeit your property. So if you serve the sentence and then there's new information that they have 10 years later, they can come and forfeit your property.
Have you spoken to Mr. Ennis about this?
Well, you know, I haven't seen him recently. But I must make this point. A lot of concern has been raised, especially by Mr. Ennis, about the method by which the persons from the FID went into the office of Olin.
Yes.
While the method itself was regrettable, the principle still remains the same. In other words, you ought not to be able to do that without having something firm before a court and acting on that. Because what that does is to give the government great power, not circumscribed by the rule of law or a court of law. And these are the dangers that we face. And my concern is this, that in trying to deal with the evils that are there, that we turn on its head the principles of justice that have been honed over centuries with good reason.
Yes, Tapa techniques.
Indeed.
Excuse me, hold on just a moment. Okay, thank you very much. We're back with you, Mr. Mullings.
Yes, Mr. Perkins.
Well, that crime act there seems to be a very important thing. It seems to be that it needs a lot of consideration.
Absolutely, sir.
The other thing is the JPS report.
Yes. Yesterday they tabled in Parliament the report from the investigators, who looked at the situation regarding the outage, oil island power outage. And one of the things they said, they don't have the report in front of me now, but in going through it, it said that the lightning strike didn't cause the failure. In other words, in spite of the lightning strike, the system should not have collapsed as it did. The term they use is cascade, like a domino effect.
Yes.
Because there's no proper maintenance of the systems. For instance, they only had 30% of the substations. There's no proper monitoring of those substations. And in point of fact, there's a situation where the telecommunication system was not up to scratch. Now, the reason why I found that alarming was that prior to the blackout, I raised questions about the removal of telecommunications equipment from the JPS plant. And I was shot down by the JPS saying it's nonsense. Where did I get my information? Only now to hear the investigators say that the telecommunications was not up to scratch, so they could not respond in as quickly a time as would be required to maintain a reliable service. And that if there's a failure, within 30 minutes you should be up and running again.
Yes.
But without the proper monitoring and the proper telecommunications, then that wouldn't happen, as happened here with that.
Now, am I right in saying that we are going to have to bear the cost of that outage?
I'm not sure. I suspect so. I really suspect so. But, you know, I'm going to have a press conference on the issue because we are being concerned about the maintenance of equipment at the JPS for a very, very long time.
Yes.
And, you know, this
But look here,
investigation has proved us right.
isn't it true that Morant has got what it wants out of Jamaica?
Well, that is so
And
clear.
it doesn't want us anymore?
But that is so clear. One, they've had this stream of revenue, they've had their profits, and as a consequence...
And they're out of their bankruptcy?
They're out of their bankruptcy. And so they're shelving their international operations, of which we are a prime part. But, you know, Mr. Perkins, we've been saying this for years, well, not for years, over a year. Indicated, looking at the revenue stream, indicating what was happening, indicating, for instance, that they were deliberately running down the plants to reduce their overheads and to eke out this the kind of profit that they in fact realized. You know?
And isn't it true, Mr. Mulling,
yes,
that JPS has been allowed a license which gives them the right to be as inefficient as they like in the production of electricity and then just add a percentage to that? So the more inefficient they are,
yes,
the higher the cost of producing the electricity,
yes,
the more profit they make.
yes,
Isn't that so?
yes. And I go further. One of the things I found, and it's called grave concern, was there was a cabinet document dated December 2005, where they did a study on the energy situation, electricity generation. And what it indicated was that the tariff was so arranged that the people of Jamaica are underwriting the tax obligations of the JPS. So that they were in a win-win situation all this time.
Oh, God.
But the chickens have come home to roost, and we're going to go through this report with a fine-tooth comb. I gather there are over 75 recommendations for improvement that they have suggested. They have also indicated that the OER should have much more power because there's a conflict of interest in the JPS being allowed to set their own generation code.
Yes.
In spite of there being an Office of Utilities Regulation. Yeah. But as I said, next week we'll be having a press conference on it to outline the details of the report.
But the question is, are we going to allow whomever succeeds, the JPS,
yes,
to acquire those powers, that ability to be inefficient and to impose these costs upon the Jamaican people?
Well, put it this way. I sincerely hope not. The leverage that we have, or the control rather, has to be in a kind of license that is granted. Has to be in the powers that the OER should be granted.
Yes.
And we're going to look very keenly at that. And to ensure that the government, as best as we can, although we're not in government ourselves, to ensure the government doesn't sell us out once more.
Well, now, there is another matter.
Yes.
The Universal Access Fund.
Yes.
There were some problems raised about that recently.
Yes.
What is happening there?
Well, the minister responded to questions that I asked concerning monies that were paid over to a certain law firm and invoicing and so on, and a conflict of interest because a partner in the law firm was in fact on the board of Universal Access Fund.
Yes.
And benefited from over $23 million worth of work without there being any tender for the legal services provided. The response of the minister was that under the Companies Act, directors can provide services to companies, which of course is not the answer.
Under the Companies Act?
Yes.
But what does that have to do with public utilities, public entities?
Absolutely nothing. And the fact of the matter is that...
Which minister is this?
Mr. Paulwell.
Oh,
Yes, I mean, Minette Palmer.
Youthful exuberance.
Well, I'm not sure if he's so useful now, but he's still exuberant. And I believe that the further questions are going to be tabled in relation to it very shortly. Because there are other questions that I've asked in relation to the public broadcasting company, which are yet to be answered by the Minister of Information. So there'll be more to come, unfortunately. there'll be more to come, unfortunately.
Well, one looks forward to it, Mr. Mullins.
Very well, sir.
Thank you very much. All
You're
the
very
best.
welcome. Bye-bye.
Okay. Do we have the email now?
Yes, Mr. Perkins. Mr. Perkins,
yes.
A police officer says this email.
Police officer what?
A policeman is a police officer, is an officer of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. So it is not wrong to class him as an officer. There is also, the word mail can be pluralized, therefore you are expecting the emails. It's not wrong. Are you afraid that somebody will call you ungrammatical if you call it emails?
Your perceptions of language online are different, you see. As far as police officer is concerned, my understanding is that in the police force, an officer is someone above the rank of inspector, right? Police constable is not an officer, right? But if you want to use language like that and make it difficult to express a precise idea or circumstance, well, go right ahead, enjoy yourself. We take a break, we'll come back in a moment. Okay, thank you very much. Now back to our email, not
Mr.
on this
Perkins.
program, our emails.
Mr. Perkins, I'm sending you this mail from London, and I'm extremely distressed. I visited my mother in Jamaica recently, and I was extremely shocked and frightened to notice the amount of cell phone towers all over the countryside. Yes. I drove through Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Trelawney, St. James, through farm, in people's backyards, yes. In the squares of some of the little small villages. Mr. Perkins, is this healthy? Does the Ministry of Health
I understand it,
know this? These things are dangerous, as I understand it.
Yes.
It would not be allowed in England.
Yes, but dangerous to whom?
Not in people's backyards.
Dangerous to whom?
Does the Ministry of Health know about it? What about your environmental ministry?
The Ministry of Health probably doesn't care about it. It's not in their backyard.
Something should be done about it, Mr. Perkins.
Well, when the people of Jamaica decide that decide to respect themselves, right, and to demand respect of their servants, whom they put into government, then maybe something will happen.
Dear Mr. Perkins, so many people seem to be missing the point of the Portia Simpson Miller cartoon. They continue to talk about that's not the way the Prime Minister dresses. That is not the point of the cartoon. The cartoonist, to my mind, is merely portraying her as the way he sees her from the way she behaves.
Yes.
I certainly did not hear any such outcry over the cartoon with Minister Paulwell, with the diaper, with the nipple bottle in his mouth, or Mr. Siaga with his bat ears and his gold chain and the bell around his neck, or Mr. Patterson looking tattered with sandals on. None of them dress like that. The Prime Minister may have deserted bigger and is now wearing Chanel and Prado. But outfits doth not a lady make. Her utterings on the radio are certainly not befitting of a Prime Minister.
Oh, well. I think, too, that is the point the cartoonist was making.
Mr. Perkins, it seems to me that you're a prophet of prediction.
A prophet of what?
Of prediction.
Oh?
I distinctly remember a few weeks after the Trafigura scandal when you said on your program that the next scandal would be in the ground. You also, in the ground, you mentioned also Glencore and the fact that the government of Jamaica had signed to sell bauxite to this entity some 300 tons or 300,000 tons of bauxite per year to this entity up to the year 2050. After that, you spoke about politicians and wife beating. And now we hear about bauxite being mined in the cockpit country and the wife beater in Mandeville. What next are you going to predict? We are listening very carefully. Dear Mr. Perkins, there's a pernicious practice of GCT whereby instead of alerting you that the first month or two that returns from a dormant company are due, they deliberately pile on fines and penalties over the months and years. Then, like Nicodemus, they send you a huge computer printout designed to shock and dismay you and awe you and make you completely despondent and want to give up. Upon receipt of this printout, some small business people have had to fold their tents and fly. Others have had cardiac arrests, while others migrate. Others, like myself, go to the GCT office to write off these oppressive fines, only to find that in some cases it cannot be done. In an effort to restart the operation of one dormant company, one is coerced to pay a fraction of these oppressive and, to my mind, unjust fines. Mr. Perkins, bureaucratic tyranny is so entrenched that if your GCT returns are late for 1 day, you get a computer printout for fines and penalties. Yes, still, when they are to return anything to you, it's months and years and much toing and froing before you can get a cent. It's just not fair.
Yes. Well, the government of Jamaica is not unlike a highwayman, you know.
Dear Mr. Perkins, I was shocked to hear that the most...
They're not running the country in the interest of the people. It is the people who are there to work in their interest so that they can gobble up as much as they can.
Hello, Mr. Perkins.
Sorry.
I was shocked to hear that the most honorable Prime Minister does not have her own credit card. What is Mr. Bill Clark doing? He must at once instruct someone at BNS to send the Prime Minister a card immediately. I'm sure that the bank would not have any doubts about her creditworthiness. Would they, Mr. Perkins?
No, I think that what is happening is she does have a credit card. She has a credit card that is supported by her husband's account.
May I finish it? Mr. Clark, the ball is in your court. Save the most honorable Prime Minister from further ridicule.
No, man, her husband...
Send her the card so she can return the one her husband gave her. It is independent women time.
No, man, she doesn't need to do that. Her husband is quite happy for her to have a card on his account.
Hello, Mr. Perkins. An employee of JPS drove up, stopped at my gate and told me that my electricity meter had a corrosion and that I must get it fixed before the next meter reading. He further stated...
But he must get it fixed?
I must get it fixed before the next meter reading.
Oh?
He further stated that this corrosion was in the meter pan. I asked him,
meter what?
Pan. I asked him where it was sold, this meter pan, and he said that I could purchase it at any electrical shop. I did so and assigned an electrician to the job. I replaced the pan. The electrician charged me a fairly reasonable sum of money. Mr. Perkins, I pay my bill very urgently, and when they are delivered to me, I also pay the charge of $1,295.30 for the month of December, as this was the charge stated on my bill. Imagine my shock when I received my January bill of $37,592.14. Mr. Perkins, how can this be? I contacted the JPS and they treat you as if you are a piece of dirt. No one can give you any valid reply to your questioning. I am told that I have to pay this amount of money or my light will be cut off. $37,592.14, Mr. Perkins, when my bill the months before was $1,295.30. I live in the community of Russia in Sablamar, and my family are decent, law-abiding citizens. I'm kindly asking you for your word on this crucial matter. The JPS is giving me a burden I cannot carry.
Well, look here. In the first place, it is my understanding that the meter is the property of the JPS. So if there's anything wrong with the meter, any rust or whatever in the meter,
you should not have changed
the meter. I don't see how it can be my responsibility to do anything about it.
You should not have changed the meter.
JPS must deal with that.
Yes.
That's one. The second thing is, and on the subject, you were telling me this morning about a bill, the latest bill that we got. For, how much was it?
16,000 something.
16,000.
Up from 7,000.
And the last bill was a red bill.
Yes.
$7,000.
Yes.
So how does this one, and this one is what, estimated?
Yes.
So last month they read it, and it was 7,000. And this month they send us an estimated bill.
$16,000 plus.
$16,000. Well, I tell you something, that sounds like something we should be going to court on. Right? Look here, and that is not by any means the worst one we have got. Right? But I'm getting fed up.
The thing, when I contacted the JPS on behalf of this person, they say it's totally wrong, and
they said what was totally
for
wrong?
The gentleman to have removed their meter, he should have reported it, and they could not accept his word that he was told by one of their workmen that the meter needed changing. The correct thing to do was for him to have reported that the meter,
absolutely,
written them or coming to see them to say the meter wasn't working. They would have sent out an approved JPS person,
absolutely,
and change a meter if it needed changing. He cannot just up and change a meter.
Absolutely.
So they can't really rectify the matter just like that. It has to be looked into.
Okay.
Hi, Mutty. The sad and depraved argument for reparations are still in the air. And many narrow-minded people who are examples, should be better examples to black people, continue to provide us with glimpses of their inactive minds. Mr. Perkins, no one can possibly justify slavery. But the fact is, it is behind us, and we are indeed benefited from the fact that slavery happened, whether we accept it or not. What we need to do as a people coming out of this experience is to develop our people, build on our economy, divorce ourselves from corruption and waste in government and show all those who would have enslaved us in the past that we are a masterful people. People who do not respect themselves cannot expect the respect of others.
That is quite true.
Up ye mighty race, you can accomplish what you will.
You know, when I was talking to that man who called from the Cayman Islands, I had in mind to ask him whether he heard any discussion there about wanting reparations for slavery. Okay, time now for the break. We'll be back here shortly.
Yes, Mr. Perkins, to continue with the emails. Dear Mr. Perkins, after 2 weeks in a time zone 14 hours ahead of Eastern Standard Time, I was unable to coordinate my activities to listen to your program. I called a friend to find out how things were going in Jamaica and what the murder toll was at the end of January. How are things at home, I asked. Boy, you miss a really fabulous jazz festival, she answered, and went on to describe a few of the performances. At that point, I wished that I had not gone to Jamaica to enjoy the chance to reunite with my friends again. So how's the violence? Things have died down a bit, I inquired. Then she replied, no, my love. I think they say about 100 people were killed in January. But that didn't stop the jazz festival at all. I even heard that they killed about 5 and 1 was beheaded in Montego Bay, but that never affects us. Why are you always so concerned about crime when there's only poor people killing off one another? Only below halfway through you have to worry. Life goes on, honey. I wonder what her position will be when the murders creep up past halfway through. Kindest regard. Dear Mr. Perkins, whilst you might not agree with some of the things that are in the Bible, I do believe we cannot make fundamental changes over the long haul until we begin to make small, immediate changes. Remember, you cannot see the wound until you stop the bleeding. If you do not do something immediately, based on your logic, we will be stuck in a catch-22 situation, which is we cannot do anything about anything. We cannot fix fundamental problems unless we stop the bleedings, Mr. Perkins. And we cannot
stop the what?
The bleeding. And we cannot stop the bleedings until we fix the fundamental problems. Our only hope is that we must first try, or at least, the very least, portray to the Jamaican people that there is an attempt to change the current situation.
Nobody is denying that there are ways of changing the current situation. The problem is that you can't change the present situation by going about it superficially. Right? You have to understand the nature of the problem that you're dealing with and address the fundamentals.
Mr. Perkins, when these people does charity, it is very good. However, it is most distasteful to look praises for it. The Bible indicates that when you give help, let not thy right hand know what thy left hand is doing. Designer clothing is common among the poor. Implicit in Lady Huggins' argument is that chenille is not known to the poor. Mr. Perkins.
I don't understand that.
I think she meant Chanel. You see, the designer Chanel.
But the designer clothing is not common among the poor in Jamaica.
I don't know. There may be there may be spin-offs, you see.
Yes, I know.
You have a lot of, some of these designers that
Yes.
are copies and so on. Mr. Perkins, it goes to show that when these people view the common man, they claim to intend to help. All they want to do is to show off what brand name clothes they can wear. Poverty is common among us, but we don't love poverty. Nobody likes to go to bed hungry or to see their children want and cannot afford to give them. To dress and rub your designer clothes in poor people's face is not good. Mr. Perkins, did I hear a gentleman on your program recently talking about party funding and that donations are not always anonymous? He's talking codswallop. He was trying to ignore the issue. Most of the big men and big institutions that are giving to the political parties don't come out and publish it. Let him name one of them, and almost all of them give to one party or the other. Most of them give to both. That is a fact. Mr. Perkins, when I listen to some of your callers, I know what their favorite meal is. Stew, peas and rice, because they have a lot of spinners. Mr. Perkins, can you try to find out what is going on with the NHT refund? When you apply online for your refund, you get a date as to when the money would be lodged in your account. But this doesn't happen. I have been waiting for more than 3 months, and I keep contacting them by mail and by phone. And I keep hearing the same thing, that it will be posted in my account. And I am still waiting.
Yes, well, clearly, Dr. Davis will tell you that I don't have the money.
Mr. Perkins.
And, all kinds of things have to be done. There's World Cup cricket coming up and an election coming up. So I don't think you'll be getting your money in a hurry.
Mr. Perkins, the RGD Island Records Office. I tried to call that lady, Mrs. Holness, to ask her one question. What is the price of the express service to record a conveyance? I have been calling from yesterday morning, starting from about 10:30 a.m. Until now, I still cannot get through. The numbers just ring and ring and ring and ring. At one point, I decided to see how long it would go on ringing. At some stage, Mr. Perkins, you gave me a number for a standards unit at Jamaica House. That lady there tried to help me. But still, I am having a hard time getting through with my business. What the devil is happening? The price schedule for the records office is not online. I am in Montego Bay, and the Montego Bay department of the RGD does not have the answer. This is ridiculous.
Yes, well, a lot of people in a lot of predicaments like that. Okay, let's go back to the telephones. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Mr. Perkins.
Yes, good afternoon.
How are you today?
Not too bad, thank you. How are you?
I'm taking one day at a time. My goes to you. What is the qualification of Mr. Davis?
The qualification of?
Mr. Davis.
The finance minister?
What is, he has a degree or two or so?
Yes, man, he's a PhD.
PhD in incompetency? If you ask Mr. Davis, what is in the consolidated fund, he could not tell you.
What is in the consolidated fund?
Yes.
Why do you think he couldn't tell you?
Because he doesn't have the common decency to separate those funds.
I don't follow you.
He doesn't have the common decency to separate those funds.
Separate them from what?
Like NIS, he doesn't know how much in the fund for NIS. He doesn't know much for NHT. He doesn't know much for education.
What evidence do you have of that?
The way that he said he has no money to do this and do that.
Mm. But if he tells you that he hasn't got money to do this and do that, have you tested that and found that he did in fact have the money to do it? Or is it that his priorities and yours are different?
No, I have no priority. All I'm asking for that they run this country in a decent way.
Mm.
Our Prime Minister, before, that's P.J. Patterson.
Yes.
He was Minister of Finance once.
Yes.
He was Mr. Trade and Industry.
Mm-hmm.
And what have you? He had some experience of what should be done. And he used that experience to play his games. Our present Prime Minister hasn't got that experience.
Mm-hmm.
I think she should employ a consultant to help her on the way.
Are you available for the job?
Well, I'm a qualified accountant, but I don't want to work with her.
I see what you mean.
I'm like Katie Knight.
I'll follow you. All right, sir. Thank you very much. All the best to you.
You're listening to Pearl.
Okay, thank you very much. We're back online. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Perkins.
Mm-hmm.
I'm listening, but I haven't heard any mention of it. The Prime Minister, I understand that some day last week she went to a certain school in Clarendon.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Clarendon College.
Yes.
And whoever passing through caused the road to fix. So I think the people need to see her pass through more frequently, because they will at least get the road fixed. But if she do that 2 times or 3 times...
Has that road actually been fixed?
Well, I hear that. I don't know if it's before or after.
Oh.
I hear that they go through and they show some barber green on the road, man.
No, maybe that was done in preparation for her visit.
Yes, so that's what I heard. That people are saying that they would like her to pass through. She must pay them some more visit.
Uh-huh.
So that we could get the road fixed.
Well, maybe what the people of Portland ought to do is to get her to have something in Buff Bay or somewhere like that, and drive down from Newcastle.
Yeah, man. The other thing I so hear that the car, I don't know if it's the one that was someone vehicle in a convoy dropping a patrol man and chop either 1 or 2 tires.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah. So they're getting some experience of what, poor class of people.
Ordinary people have to endure.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. So I'm surprised that, I don't even hear them mention so much good things that have been...
And maybe they ought to get her up to Clavity Cottage.
Yes, man, a lot of places. All those places that need, road repair. Just arrange for her to drive, not to come by helicopter. And you'll see the miracle take place.
I'll follow you.
Yes, man.
All right.
Anyway, thank you.
Thank you very much. All the best to you. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon.
Hello?
Yes?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Mr. Perkins?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Not a very good connection, it seems, though.
Listen, I was listening to your program, sir, and yesterday, and I heard this gentleman was talking about road repair, and what comes
about
to
what?
mind when he was talking about road repair.
Oh, yes.
Yes, sir. What come to my mind when he was talking about it, sir, was this road that lead from the main road into this district they call Flight. Driving to Black River and St. Elizabeth.
Yes,
I don't know if you know that area.
I know the
general area. It's a shame. Not even cow, sir. Not even cow can walk on that street, and people have to drive on it to come towards the main road and to go to Black River. It's a shame. I wonder if those people don't have a representative there that represents them.
Well, they are supposed to have a representative, sir, but maybe the representative isn't representing them. A representative represents the party, you see, not the people. That's the pattern in Jamaica.
It's really a shame, though. You know, it really is, because when it comes down to politics time, then you see all these people come around, right? Jacking for people's votes and make all kind of promises, but then when it's time for them to fulfill their promises, you can't even see them. What does to hear from them?
Quite true. But then the people go on having it election after election, the same technique works. And why should they change it?
And next thing too, Mr. Perkins, that really bothers me too, sir, is that in Jamaica, you have people who I don't understand why they can't do something about the crime in Jamaica.
Well, because they're trying to do something about the crime, but it seems to me that they're going about it the wrong way. They're not trying to understand what it is that is driving the crime.
You know what I think is driving the whole crime business, Mr. Perkins, because when I was growing up, I used to hear that you go to school to get a good education, and then you go to college and you graduate, and then you get yourself a good job. But all these people, they're going to school, they're doing the right thing, but when they leave school, Mr. Perkins, they don't have anything to do.
Yes, quite true.
Nothing to do. So then what you leave them with?
Well, they have no opportunity.
And then they themselves start having family, and they need to take care of their family.
Yes.
So, they have nothing else to do.
Yes.
Meanwhile, we have the politicians who are there. They spend their time there, and as soon as they finish, they have our money in offshore banks, and they go away and they live, splendid life. Live big life while the little people are there still suffering, have to pick it up in the tax revenue to pay for all their expense and stuff like that, and the people not getting any work to do.
Quite true. No opportunity to do well along legal lines, legitimate lines.
I do hope, though, sir, that this election that is coming up, I do hope people really sit down and think and really have somebody who really represents the people and not their own self-interest.
Okay.
And don't select somebody to be your leader because you like the person and the person is pretty and the person is elegant, but the person must be somebody who have the countries at heart.
I am with you on that, sir. Thank you very much. All the best to you. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes?
Mr. Perkins?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to you.
A pensioner.
Yeah.
Mr. Perkins, I would to inform the dancing Prime Minister to give us pensioner a chance to survive.
Yes.
Mr. Perkins, I've noticed recently, sir.
What are you, NIS?
NIS, sir.
Oh, God.
I've noticed recently,
no,
sir.
But she's taking your money and she's taking your money to make a capital fund for poor persons, poor entrepreneurs, you know.
But we are poorer than the rest, you know, Mr. Perkins.
Yeah.
And, sir, from 2004, when the great finance minister upgrade our pension, and it was supposed to retroactive to 2003, from 2003. And we have not received anything until July, Mr. Perkins. We got 16 weeks, 16 months.
Yes.
A retroactive. So.
So you collected a lot of
Yes, sir.
Eh?
At this point in time, they have a retroactive of 2.
Of how much?
We have a retroactive of 2 years and 10 months.
Have you collected that money?
No, sir, we have not.
Oh.
And when I notice they are making boasts and issuing these great letters of approval, loans from our money.
Yes.
That we've worked hard for.
Yes.
And after tax, these money we would donate to the fund. And people that is in better position than us, the pensioner, is reaping the fruit of our labor. After 18 years, why the government don't have any fund to deal with these benefits? Why they have to dip hand in our fund, of which they already draw tax from our money? You know?
Yes.
So why at this point in time, Mr. Perkins, there should be long-eyed and finger-fearing with the trusts that we contribute at this point in time?
I don't know, sir. It is unprincipled. And it seems to me calculated to win political support, to buy political support.
But, Mr. Perkins, where's the reserve?
Huh?
Where's the reserve
What
after
reserve?
18 years?
What reserve? You mean the NIR fund?
No, not the NIR fund. Because that is ours.
No, the NIS is yours.
The NIS. Mr. Perkins, they're using us as a stepping stone. Recently I heard they mentioned that we're going to get a raise of pension.
Yes.
So to every time they mention certain things, you know, they use us as a stepping stone. All because we are old people, you know, sir.
Yes.
We can't climb up a chop down big
Tell me
tree and
something.
drop in a road.
How much a fortnight are you getting now?
I'm getting now 1,800.
1,800.
Yes, sir.
A fortnight?
Per fortnight.
So that's $900 a week?
Yes, sir.
So what can that do for you, sir?
Nothing, absolutely nothing, Mr. Perkins.
My God.
Absolutely nothing.
Well, that can't even buy you food for the week?
Buy what, sir? Me like that in a one day.
And you have a wife?
Yes, sir. I have a family. That was working to pick up our NIS. I'm weak and tired. Most of us pensioner is bedridden. Weak and tired. We don't have union to defend us. This is what I mean, Mr. President.
Yes, I do.
Nobody is there to make intercession for us.
Yes.
And yet, I've seen people that is in better position than us.
Oh, he seemed to have had his card run out, eh? Sorry about that. Okay, it comes at an appropriate time. That brings us to the end of Perkins Online for today. We'll be back, hopefully, tomorrow. Usual time, usual place. We look forward to your company. So long.